I'm back to the live show. Welcome, welcome back. It is your boy Genesis, and may I be the first person to say happy Thanksgiving to you. It's beautiful 2024 Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, guys. How are you doing? Yes, y'all. I am back with another episode. Happy Thanksgiving, guys. Happy Thanksgiving. Okay. All right. What do we have here? Wokeness needs and in. Shout out to Elon Musk right there. Like you see, he is shopping for MSNBC. He is shopping for MSNBC, guys. How many of y'all want this guy to buy MSNBC? A lot of people are like, yo, we want him to buy MSNBC. We want him to buy MSNBC right now. A lot of people are like, yo, he should buy CNN. In fact, but as you see up there, he is shopping for MSNBC, and he's probably, like we all know, this man is very unorthodox. He probably will buy MSNBC, as has been rumored. He definitely may buy MSNBC. But with that being said, today we want to go into being Thanksgiving. We want to talk about the things that we are thankful for and how wonderful God is. But I also want to show you different things today. Okay. I want to tell you why you should be grateful for Thanksgiving. Oh my goodness. Somebody just logged into my Instagram. Somebody just logged into my Instagram. How does what is this? How is this even possible? Someone just logged into my Instagram, guys. As if I have not seen it all. Someone just logged into my Instagram. And I see their email right here. Oh my goodness. Let me see if I can still go on my Instagram. Goodness. Okay. This is just wild. I was gonna have a good time on the live show, and all of a sudden, this is what I'm getting. Someone from Vietnam is logged into my Instagram, and now I can't log into my Instagram. You can never make this up, guys. Okay, let me see. We were gonna have a good time, and I felt like it was gonna be a good show. Okay, so what do I do? Um, that to Look, it's confirmed it's me. Let me see. This is wild. They probably already changed my name on Instagram. This is the wildest. Like I always know, like people get hacked and stuff, but this right is on another level, right? Okay, I lost my Instagram, guys. Do I end the show and go fight for my Instagram? What's this? It's like, what do I do? Do I end the show and go fight for my Instagram? Let's see. Shout out to Mr. Busky one more time. Shout out to everybody watching the live show. Yo, okay. Let me keep you guys engaged first before I know what to do next. Because for some reason, who are just being dubious.
Trump's incoming border czar is laying down the law to the Democrats who are promising to defy him. Right now, liberal mayors and governors are trying to see who can virtue signal louder, but vowing to interfere with Trump's mass deportation plans. But Mr. Tom Homan is sending them a clear message that he's done playing games.
You could not help us. That's fine. You should get the hell out of the way then, because we're going to do the job. President Trump has said public safety threats and national security threats will be the priority right out of the gate. And I can't believe there's any elected official that doesn't want public safety threats out of their communities. Their number one responsibility is protecting the communities. So if they're not going to do it, we'll do it for them. And we're going to have consequences for people who violate the law and try to prevent us from doing our job.
Yeah, he's not just making this up. Here's a prime example of the criminals Homan wants out of the country. Check out this Venezuelan immigrant. He's a repeat offender, and he was arrested for robbing one of Alvin Bragg's prosecutors, stealing her purse, and then threatening her for her credit card PIN. Yeah, this pervert also exposing himself before fleeing. This is his 6th arrest this year, and ICE is blasting officials for letting him go.
It's possible, but we really haven't had. We're working on identification and we're doing what we can, but he wasn't in our custody. And they won't give us anything more than what we have. So I would like better collaboration on this and allow them to honor our detainer and let us help them.
Yeah, Rosanna, you look at this. I mean, does this wake them up? This is somebody in your office. Maybe you put somebody in jail once you've arrested them 6 times to protect the people that work beside you.
Joey, talk about hitting home. It's like knock, 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 Alvin Bragg. Do you see what's going on? But it's not just Alvin Bragg's problem. It's the city's problem. Just this week on Good Day New York, we had the new police commissioner, Jessica Tisch. She came on and said, I really don't know the extent of migrant crime in New York City because New York City is a sanctuary city. So we do not report to ICE that someone who committed a crime in New York City is here illegally. And now our mayor, Eric Adams, a year ago said to me on my special on the migrant crisis on Fox Nation, he said basically he wants to change the status of sanctuary city. But the city council, which has a lot to say in New York, says absolutely not. They will not change it. Even though they know what's going on in New York City is awful. They just convened a few weeks ago because there were so many unaccompanied minors staying at the Roosevelt Hotel. No parents. They don't know if these kids are going to school. They don't know if these kids are being human trafficked. They know there's a problem. We don't know the extent of it. But this is what's going on in New York City right now. We don't know exactly how bad.
Harold, I'm not sure if you've noticed, but there aren't really any Republican cities that are sanctuary cities. It's acutely a Democrat-caused problem in a lot of people's minds. But really, when you look at something like the Laken Riley murder trial, then you get these details that come out. His flight down to Georgia was paid for by the government. And this idea that there really are victims to these crimes, these Democrat leaders have taken away our ability to even be empathetic towards migrants because right now it's all a threat.
Right, so you guys won the race, so you should act. I like Tom Homan. I don't know him. He seems like a decent guy. Stop auditioning for like a sci-fi adventure movie and just do the job. I'm part of the 75% of Americans that want these criminals deported. I'm one of the 75% of Americans in the polls that want a vastly different and stronger posture at the southern border. That's why you won. You don't need to come on Fox or CNN or anywhere. Just go do the job. And if Democrats get in the way, Joey, or Republicans get in the way, you know what you do? The policy is going to usurp them. I would probably spend my time, if I were him also, coming into cities like New York and Los Angeles, where the city council in Los Angeles declared Los Angeles a sanctuary city. I would ask them to meet with the city council and say, guys, I tell you, I think you're wrong. Here's what we're going to do. And here's what how your efforts may interfere with what we're going to do. Now, I know that you want to protect people, but we want to take these people off the streets who are committing crimes. We prioritize how we're going to do it. I'm just a different kind of fellow than him. I wish him the best. I'm rooting for him. I'm praying for him. But I do wish he'd stop coming on TV and looking like he's in Top Gun jackets, ready to fight somebody. just go ahead and do your job.
You know, I appreciate it. I know Laken Riley's stepdad, and somebody needs to talk tough. Somebody needs to use hard words because Democrats would tell you that, Dana, that they're all basically good people and there's a few bad apples, and those bad apples have done some pretty terrible things. If President Trump has any kind of mandate whatsoever in this election, it is the border. I mean, that is the issue, I think, that probably united more people from different tents into his demographic than anything.
So this is a rare thing where I'm going to disagree with Harold kind of strongly, but politely. I think that first of all, President Trump's never been more popular than he is today. So he's got a mandate, he's got the wind behind his back, and he's got people saying, we're ready, sir, sign us up, we're ready to go, we have 60 days, but we're not going to wait till we get our offices and find out, through employee orientation where the bathrooms are. Like, we're ready to go, so we're preparing. And Tom Homan is a character, and in a way.
First of all, President Trump was elected based on the mandate on the border, on the economy, foreign policies. This is why he was elected. So I don't know why everybody's acting surprised that he is doing exactly what he says he was going to do. I mean, how biased is that? Everybody's just acting like they don't know what this man said. This man was voted in because he said he was going to secure the border, protect the American citizen, end the wars, bring back the economy, and drill baby Drew. This is why he said he was going to be the president of the United States. This is why we voted for him. So why are you acting like you didn't know this was what it was going to do?
What I mean by that is somebody who you can follow. You want to listen. He makes you pay attention. And he might have a little different way about him. And I think that's the kind of general you need to go into this situation. I think the communications on all of this is going to be extremely important, possibly even delicate going forward, because there might be scenarios that are very tough to watch. One kid crying, one mother screaming, like any of those things.
Yeah.
One of those things could be a problem. So they're basically saying, here's what we want to do. And I think that he should go to all of those cities and meet with them. But I would also say this. We know from the Biden administration that there are 1.4 million illegal immigrants here right now that have deportation orders. If you have a deportation order, the law says you must be removed. So it's not against the law to remove them. Actually, it's against the law to not remove them. So that will be job number one. That's 1.4 million people. That's going to take a lot of effort. Out of that, Joe Biden's ICE revealed that there are 425,000 convicted criminal aliens just roaming free around the country. 15,000 rapists and 12,000 convicted murderers within that group.
Wow.
So he has his work cut out for him and needs kind of like the army of the Border Patrol behind him, but also the umbrella of the political capital that President Trump can give him when they start.
It's almost like Trump wasn't a racist when he said they're sending murderers and rapists. I don't know. We're several years after that, though. Kat, the argument that Dems are using is that it's just going to cost so much money to remove all these people that it almost isn't worth it. And it's kind of ironic to me that I guess they have a price for peace and life, preserving life. I'm not sure. I mean, usually they like spending money.
Yeah, I don't see the argument for not wanting these people who are violent criminals to leave. I don't see it. And I say that as somebody who I believe that if you are nonviolent and you are self-sufficient and you want to come contribute to this economy, then you should be free to do so. I mean, I think that the self-sufficient one maybe is controversial to some people. I don't see how the nonviolent one could be. If you're self-sufficient and you're nonviolent, I don't in that case want to spend money deporting you. But as compassionate as a person can be, and I'm a very compassionate person, there's nothing compassionate about keeping people that you know are dangerous, either to the community or to national security or just dangerous in general in that community. That's not compassionate. I think that some people have their identity so wrapped up in being part of the resistance that perhaps they're not thinking about what they're even actually resisting in a case like this. That they know that that's their response, that, okay, Trump, he's bad and he's going to do this. And so we have to fight against this because I'm this compassionate person, without thinking about what you're really resisting and what compassion means in that case. And in this case, keeping violent people in communities is not a compassionate thing.
Yeah, kids in cages won't work this time around.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. But one thing is for sure, if you come into the United States, your first move into the United States is illegally, then you have an issue. Anyway, this is going to be the beginning of the show. I just got an email saying my Instagram was hacked. So it's like, who hacked my Instagram? So I'm a little out of touch. I'm a little out of touch because my verified Instagram email was just changed. So now I have to contact Instagram for, like when you get an email saying your email has been changed, and then you see the email, somebody from Vietnam. What? I was tired of that Instagram anyway, but it was a verified Instagram. There is no way I should be losing my verified Instagram. All right. The title for today is Wokeness Needs to End in America. Wokeness needs to end in America. Okay. Yo, somebody said people keep trying to hack my bank account. Man, oh man. All right. Look. End wokeness, guys.
And I feel, and I have feelings.
I want you guys to listen to this. I want you guys to listen. I don't know if you guys have seen this movie, Weekhead, but this is the highest degree of woke right here. This is the highest degree of wokeness in America right here. Check this out.
I'm a person, and I feel, and I have feelings, and I can share them.
And if you need to cry right now, you cry.
Yeah. And someone said to me once that the green was the thing that I would love the most about Alphabet, that I would want to stay green. But actually, being green, yes, I loved playing this character. But every time I took the makeup off, I loved who I was even more. So I've come away feeling really beautiful.
You f***ing are.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I mean, God.
You know?
Yeah. What you've brought to this film and to these characters, you've not just taken care of them, you have transformed them for good.
Thank you.
Really.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This is also my first time ever doing a
You
junkie.
have been the light of the
amazing.
day. You are
truly-
such a gift.
You brought such light into the room. Thank you very much
We
for coming
appreciate
into
you.
this room today.
What is going on here? What is going on here, people? This is straight up wokeness. I don't know if you guys have seen this movie, but the movie should not be wicked. It should be called woke. Woke. This is straight up woke. Like, what are you doing? If you need to cry, you can cry. What? And this is, I know women are very sensitive, so I don't want the women in the chat be like, what do you know, bro? What do you know, bro? But it's like, relax. If you need to cry, you can cry. Let it out, girl. Let it out, girl. You do your thing, girl. What? This is why I never want to watch Disney like that, because it's like Disney is just on another level. And they're about to sell ABC. I know you guys know, right? All right, let me get you. Check this out.
At the end of it, they said, you have to be good and you have to be kind to everybody.
Whoa.
And she is a good witch.
Yeah, that's the message.
You know what I mean? It's that impact.
Yeah. That's beautiful. She is a good witch.
If kids can feel that, then
Yeah.
She is a good witch, guys. She is a good witch. That's the message. She is a good witch, and that is the message from the people who created Wicked. You heard it from the ox's mouth. She's a good witch, and she's in tears because she's a good witch. Shout out to Hollywood, people who wanted Kamala to be the next president of the United States. Why do I only have... Let me see.
We're going to have to try to mend some cliche fences, and you two are going to go in there and you're going to try to tamp it down. Because Comcast knew the next day they were going to announce that MSNBC is vapor. That is a huge media story.
Why is it
Enormous.
vapor? Just because they're
There is
spinning it
no
off
more-
and putting them in the... Well, they're spinning off a bunch
There's
of
no
brands.
spin-off.
Yeah, there is. It's a
No,
spin-off company.
There's no spin-off. See, you buy the propaganda, Cuomo.
Oh, okay.
See what I mean about
I'm just saying
people?
what's being reported.
All right.
But what do you know?
Yeah, I know, but why would you believe what's being reported? You want the real story? Here
Yes,
it comes.
please.
So they're uncoupling their word, Comcast, MSNBC from NBC News. That means MSNBC has no resources at all. None. They're not going to be able to pay these people millions of dollars, Rachel Maddow, whatever she's making. NBC News is saying, we don't want you around. Why? Because NBC News' numbers, Lester Holt and the Today Show, are catastrophe because half the country equates NBC News with MSNBC and they won't watch. So NBC is desperately trying to save the mothership of information, and they have to throw MSNBC overboard. They're not putting anything into MSNBC. They want to sell it. So where's Georgie Soros now? Georgie's buying radio stations. You can get MSNBC for nothing. They'll give it to you. They don't want any more of this. Why? Because it's hateful. Not because it's so far left. The whole NBC Comcast hierarchy is far left. But it's hateful. They hate Trump. They hate people who vote for Trump. Everybody knows that. And you know what's next? The View. ABC News is going to have to cut ties with The View. And you saw that today or yesterday when Sonny Hostin had to read a legal statement in the middle of a...
And this is something I have to agree with, okay? It is definitely not a good thing to have a group of people who just say constantly bad things about an individual and also the people that actually support this individual. How is that even possible that every single person on that network is just biased towards Trump? It is hateful, guys. It is hateful to have a group of people who just say bad things about Trump. And this man is the president of the United States, president-elect of the United States. Why is this even something that we have to succumb to and deal with? Man, shout out to this dude, man.
Segment. The lawyers get Whoopi Goldberg's ear and it said, we're bringing a statement in on a teleprompter. She reads it. So it is over for these far left networks. Done, never coming back on NBC News. That means network. He reads it. So it is over for these far left networks. Done, never coming back. Dracula's stake in the heart. Who benefits? News Nation may, but CNN, which is on the ropes too, will probably get some MSNBC viewers. Wow. There you go.
What do you think of that?
Okay, so question, is it over for the lefties? Is it over for the lefties? Is it over for the leftists? Now, CNN is definitely on the lookout looking like, yo, if MSNBC can be bought, then CNN may be on the lookout too, man. But I think that gone are the days where people who don't really have the love of all people in their heart to have a major mainstream opinion. Because if you don't have love for all people, all types of people, then I don't know how you in the first place got a job on a mainstream media. Listen to Joy Reid right here.
People who say the undocumented, who they get to call illegal immigrants, like the Pilgrims had permission to come here, have to suffer the consequences of their actions, right? They made the choice to overstay their visas or come into our country illegally. So if they get deported, consequences. But you right-wingers shouldn't have to suffer the consequences of your votes? You don't want to be around me because I voted for fascism. No fair. I'm coughing on you with COVID, but you want me to wear a mask for your safety? No fair. My body, my choice. Well, here's an alternative thought. Make your own dinner, MAGA. Make your own sandwiches. Wipe your own tears. Troll amongst yourselves with Elon and leave us alone. You got your heart's desire, the president you dreamed of, and worship instead of Jesus. And this time, you didn't even have to storm the Capitol, smash the windows, or try to kill police officers or issue death threats to poll workers. See? You did it just by voting this time. Congrats. You got your way. And he even got away with breaking the law. Yay. But if you expect the 73 million who voted for the prosecutor, not the felon, and
What is she even saying? What is she even saying? Is she saying we are comparing, or the people who voted for Trump, is she saying they're comparing Trump with the King of Kings? What are you saying, Joy Reid? This is bitterness. This is straight up bitterness. This is bitterness beyond imagination. Why would you be this bitter? You are so bitter. And you have mainstream media behind you. This isn't even a joke. So this is her Thanksgiving message to the Make America Great Again pros, according to her, because they like saying MAGA, MAGA, like Make America Great Again is like something bad. Look at her.
law. Yay. But if you expect the 73 million who voted for the prosecutor, not the felon, and particularly the 92% of black women who voted for Kamala to give you a cookie for your vote, a trophy, a hug, a high five, you might be asking too much. If we want to eat with you, we will. But if we just want some peace over the holidays and we don't want to put up with your trolling while we eat our tofurkey, get over it. Stop acting like we owe you. And for God's sakes, stop whining. It's embarrassing. Our Thanksgiving.
I am sorry, Leo. Yo, this is just sad. Why is this even something that I'm sorry for playing this video to you guys, because I know you may be having a great day, wonderful day, then I bring Joy Reid to your phone or your computer. I am sorry, okay? I didn't mean to change the vibe of your day. But golly, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Now, the Thanksgiving. So Thanksgiving is for her people, not for the people who voted for Trump. So how hateful can you be? How hateful can you be for thinking like this? And she has the mainstream media. She's working for the mainstream media, and this is on air right now. This is on MSNBC. This is just sad. This is absolutely sad. And we should be better than this. We should love the United States. So you're saying 76 million people plus who voted for the president-elect are supposed to do what? Not celebrate Thanksgiving? It should be Make America Great Again. I love the Democrats, okay? I was an independent, but now, bro, I'm going to tell y'all real fast. I am now a Republican because there is no way you would hate this much. There is just no way you would hate this much, okay? I love Democrats. I love independent. I love Republicans. You should love everybody. Stop trying to separate, tear apart. Like, why are you trying to do that? I mean, listen to this.
These are the people who say the undocumented, who they get to call illegal immigrants, like the Pilgrims had permission to come here, have to suffer the consequences of their actions, right? They made the choice to overstay their visas or come into our country illegally. So if they get deported, consequences. But you right-wingers shouldn't have to suffer the consequences of your votes. You don't want to be around me because I voted for fascism. No fair. I'm coughing on you with COVID, but you want me to wear a mask for your safety?
Come
No
on,
fair.
man.
My body, my choice. Well, here's an alternative thought.
Come on,
Make your
sister.
own dinner, MAGA. Make your own sandwiches. Wipe your own tears. Troll amongst yourselves with Elon and leave us alone. You got your heart's desire, the president you dreamed of, and worship instead of Jesus. And this time, you didn't even have to storm the Capitol, smash the windows, or try to kill police officers or issue death threats to poll workers. See? You did it just by voting this time. Congrats. You got your way. And he even got away with breaking the law. Yay. But if you expect the 73 million who voted for the prosecutor, not the felon, and particularly the 92% of black women.
She said the president you worship instead of Jesus. Jesus, bro? There's no comparison. You're talking about the creator, the king of kings, the beginner and the finisher of all things, to Donald Trump. What are you even saying, Joy Reid? What are you saying? I don't think a Christian would talk like this. That's just the facts. Okay? You would not even talk like this because nobody should be compared to the creator. But because you hate this guy so much and you hate the people that support him and you just hate the idea that he has put into people's mind that we can make America great again by bringing down the cost of things, by securing the border, by making sure we advocate for peace around the world, by being a diplomat instead of funding all of this chaos.
Women who voted for Kamala to give you a cookie for your vote, a trophy, a hug, a high five. You might be asking too much. If we want to eat with you, we will. But if we just want some peace over the holidays and we don't want to put up with your trolling while we eat our tofurkey, get over it. Stop acting like we owe you. And for God's sakes, stop whining. It's embarrassing. Our Thanksgiving, our choice.
Oh my God. Yo, shout out to Joy Reid, man, because I don't know. I love you, sister. I love you. And this is what I do. Like, when I see people who disagree with me, I want to listen to you. I want to know why you disagree with me. You mean to tell me you don't like good economy? You don't like secured border? You don't like low gas prices, low mortgage rates, low grocery prices, affordable electricity bill? You don't like peace around the world? You don't like that? Shout out to Joy Reid, man, because really, this is sad. This is just sad. I am sorry. This is sad. Okay, I am sorry. You don't have to agree with my mindset. It's okay. All right, it's okay. I still love you, but golly, Joy Reid. See, like I wrote this thing off as soon as I heard worshiping Trump instead of Jesus. That's the end of the speech right there. You shouldn't even have that kind of mind state. Man.
Well, guys, hell hath no fury like an angry Democratic donor. Some top big money backers are venting publicly over the way the Harris campaign took $1 billion, $1.5 billion, of their money and basically set it on fire, losing in a landslide to President-elect Trump. One mega donor is letting out his frustrations with this brutal shot at Kamala's future in politics.
I think this disqualifies her forever. If you can't run a campaign, you can't run America. The same thing is going to follow Harris for the rest of her career. She cannot be trusted with the money. And the donors are going to be like, where is this money?
And Harris is not making matters any better because, check this out. She emerged from 3 weeks of political hiatus to deliver what many say was at the very least, a very bizarre video message.
I just have to remind you, don't you ever let anybody take your power from you. You have the same power that you did before November 5th. And you have the same purpose that you did. And you have the same ability to engage and inspire.
Top Harris campaign official
I don't know what she was thinking. And most people are saying, this is the word on the street, okay? This is, don't say Genesis. What are you saying? This is just the word on the street, okay? They're saying that she was drunk here. They're saying that, was she drunk? No, okay, this isn't me. People are saying, was she drunk right here? Was she drunk right here? I don't know. Look, does she look like she's drunk right here? Let me know. Let me know in the chat. In the chat, let me know. Does this look like your drunk auntie when she comes around for Thanksgiving, or when she's leaving after the Thanksgiving meal, or after the Christmas party, or after the get together? This isn't what I'm saying. I'm saying this is the word on the street. They're saying that she looked drunk right here. I don't believe she was drunk. However, people say she looks drunk.
And you have the same ability to engage and inspire.
Top Harris campaign officials are also consoling themselves, gathering on a podcast to give a political autopsy on what went wrong. It's full of blame and finger pointing, and one shocking revelation on how Kamala might have been doomed from the very start.
107 days, 2 weeks fucked up because of a hurricane, 2 weeks talking about how she didn't do interviews, which, you know, she was doing plenty, but we were doing in our own way, being up against a narrative that we weren't doing anything or we were afraid to have interviews is completely and also like took hold a little bit. And we just gave us another thing we had to fight back for that Trump never had to worry about.
We were behind. I mean, I think it surprised people because there was these public polls that came out in late September, early October, showing us with leads that we never saw.
Oh, the places we'll go in this segment. First of all, she did not give interviews. we do television. We were looking, begging for any sort of clip to use of her. She was not doing that. It's great to have everybody here on Thanksgiving Eve. Kat, let me start with you on what you thought about her, whatever, the video or the podcast and the autopsy.
Whoever that campaign aide was that was talking about her fighting the narrative that she was not doing interviews. She was not doing interviews. For the first 45 days or so, she did not do interview. Remember the interview that she was by the plane and she said, we're getting ready to talk to you guys. We are getting ready to take an interview. We streamed it all over here. This was back in like August, September. For 40 days, she did not do any interview. And I was saying there is no way you would cause any type of change without talking to the American people. Now they're saying, well, Trump didn't have to fight that. Trump didn't have to, clarify that. But we, because we didn't take it. You didn't take an interview. Nobody begged you not to take an interview. You should have taken interview, but you were not sure of the candidate that you had. People weren't sure of Kamala. Even her team were not sure of Kamala because every time she spoke, according to this word on the street one more time, every time she spoke, every time she opened her mouth to speak, Trump gained momentum. And that's why she did not take interviews.
Autopsy and all that.
The video was crazy. I was looking at it and I was like, what does this remind me of? And it reminds me of being in my early 20s in line at the club for the bathroom. And then the girl in front of you who should have left 3 hours starts talking to you. She's like, don't ever, and it's like talking about don't let anyone take your power from you. It was like the same vibe and the same script as that scenario. And on the spending issue, I think that donor is not exaggerating because there's a direct correlation, I think, between campaigning and governing, which is how seriously do you take spending other people's money, right? She spent $900,000. Her campaign did $900,000 to put her face on the Las Vegas sphere, and then obviously lost Nevada. But okay, that just feels to me like why not? Let's put her face on there. Why not? And if that is how seriously you're taking donors' money, that's how seriously you could be taking taxpayer money. And we've seen, and then she's posting videos like that where looks like she's having a fun time in Hawaii and whatever, while a lot of people spent a lot of money and believed in this thing that they all knew from the inside wasn't quite the hopeful picture that they were presenting to everyone else.
And it's also, there were the big donors, like the mega donors, but they were relentless asking people, saying $25, $50, $150. So I feel even more sorry for those folks. Let's listen to Joe Rogan. He had some thoughts about this.
If you do pay people, it's not going to have the same impact. Yeah. I think these Call Her Daddy shows and all these different shows that she went on, I'm sure they had an impact. Yeah. But I think that in the future, I'm sure they're scrambling to try to create their own version of this show. Right. This is one thing that keeps coming up, like we need our own Joe Rogan. Right. But they had me.
Well, number one, they had.
I love that. They could have done it. And I don't think one appearance on Joe Rogan was going to change the trajectory of her campaign, but they didn't even try.
Yeah, if you watch that video of her campaign manager, number one, that's a woman who's resigned to never work in that field again with the interview she gave. That was the transgender of presidential campaigns, right? We may be an epic failure, but we identify as a success. Just because you say you're successful doesn't mean you are successful, I guess. Their ideology of victimhood and faultless failure is dictating their fate, and as a conservative, I'm happy to let it happen. When you look at Joe Rogan, we really need to appreciate just how unique it was for a former president and presidential candidate to sit down and do a 3-hour interview with him from any political party. Mm-hmm. And when you think about the people that listen to his podcast, they reject woke and they embrace marijuana. They're equally as skeptical of government as they are big business. They have a libertarian streak, but most of them are probably passionately liberal in the older sense of the word, very socially liberal. And so the reason why that matters is there probably aren't many Republicans, like big R Republicans, that could sit down and get through 3 hours with him. There certainly aren't any Democrats right now, but a Donald Trump can. Mm-hmm. And that's what makes, that is the difference. She sits there and complains about the hurricane. Like, I'm sorry it took all your lives away.
Even if Kamala had gone to Joe Rogan, I don't think she would have had any impact, because there is just no way she would have sat down for 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours to have a conversation with Joe Rogan. It is just almost impossible, because she's not wired that way. She's not ready to take on that type of task. She's not on that level when it comes to conversing with another person for that long. She wasn't taking interviews, and these are interviews like, why is the border this way? What is the economy like? What is your foreign policy going to look like when you become the United States president? What have you been doing for the past 4 years? What would you change if you had something else to do? Like, easy questions that you can easily just maneuver your way and, say something that can relate to people, and then they're going to like you. But no, Kamala. No, Kamala, guys.
But man, it really hurt our chances to win the presidency. Like, come on.
Rosanna, what did you make of her emerging 3 weeks afterwards?
Well, first she had to go to Hawaii and
she had to go to Hawaii. I know, but I was thinking, what does it say to young women?
She was late to her own, speech to say thank you for being here and I lost, right? Mm-hmm. So she did not show up at Howard University the night that Trump won. Took her several hours to concede, right? She was nowhere to be found. Nobody knew where she was. Then she wound up coming back to Howard and thanking everybody. But I think, with Kamala Harris, she couldn't distinguish herself from the president. She thought because she had the mainstream media, she was going to win. She was on The View. They gave her softball questions, and yet she still couldn't.
And this is another thing. The fact that when she lost, she went to Hawaii for a vacation. Why would you go to Hawaii for a vacation? This is the time for you to be on ground and then, show the world that I said I was going to, slash prices on price gouging. Let's start working on it, even if I'm the vice president. So when I do run in 2028, you guys would remember that even when I lost the presidential race in 2024, I still got to work. So she lost every dream, every promises she made down the drain. Down the drain. So it's like you spent over $1 billion paying Hollywood elites. That $1 billion could have actually gone into the United States. I'm telling you, that $1 billion, she could have done something tangible for the economy, for the people of the United States, for the, for the homeless veterans. For that's the thing about people. People don't even get this. Like, if I was a politician, bro, brothers and sisters, if I was a politician and I raised money from donors and I made like $1 billion, I'm just gonna take about $100,000 and I am going to shelter all the homeless veterans that I see and that I can get my hands on and that my team can reach out to, and we're gonna document every single thing. I'm gonna document every single day that we do it, and I'm just gonna archive it, and that would be something that the American people would see that we did. We took out money from our campaign budget and then we used it to house, feed homeless veterans. That's already a win-win situation for you, the campaign people, for you, Kamala, and also, and this is for any politician, okay? For the politician and for the American people. But no, nobody thinks like this. Everybody just wants to go pay Beyonce. You want to go pay uh uh people you don't have to pay, Oprah, people who are already wealthy. I don't just get it.
Distinguish herself from Biden, right? They asked her that question. She said, there's nothing I would do differently. She got Oprah Winfrey, which everybody thought that was a home run. We find out later Oprah Winfrey's company got $1 million from the campaign, right? Yeah. She had Beyonce. She had all these stars. She had everybody. And then we find out they were all paid. Right. They were all paid.
Harold, that video of hers, I'm usually never like this, where I think, wow, somebody really had it in for her. Mm-hmm. But the fact that they released it was very unflattering. There's very few people left on the campaign that maybe she can't pay anybody, and maybe she said, I don't care, release it. And they said, yes, ma'am, let's do that. But nobody was protecting her. The video's terrible.
I don't disagree with that. First of all, happy Thanksgiving. It's good to see a few new faces around the table, seeing everybody in other shows. Rosanna, it's great to see you. Kat, congratulations.
Oh,
Joy, great to see you.
Thank you.
I really failed on the welcome.
The election, no, Dana, you told me to do it. That's why I'm doing it. The election started out when she got the nomination, when Biden decided not to run. What I don't like about what her campaign is saying now is that they knew this was a change election. The reason that Joe Biden had to not run was because the country believed that 70-30 we were going in the wrong direction and he was underwater. You look between that time and the time that Rosanna just said when she was on a friendly show, The View, and I believe my friend Sunny Hostin asked her, what would you do differently over the last? She said, I can't think of anything that I would have done differently. That was.
If Kamala wants to have a future in politics, she needs to get around the people of the United States. She needs to go talk to people, real life people, not people online and people that just hype you up because you are supposed to be the first woman vice president or the first woman supposed president of the United States. No, go outside, talk to real people, let them get in your face and say, you know what, you messed up. Get in their face and take it. Take it like a G. Okay? Take it like a G and say, okay, yeah, I messed up. Okay. So what would you rather have me do? What would you rather have me do, people of the United States? I messed up. I get it. That's the only way she's gonna have a future in politics. But if she keeps hiding behind the screens and then you're running for public office, you need to go outside and get abused because they're gonna abuse you like you. I mean, not like literally abuse you, but they're gonna like yab you. They're gonna insult you because that's because they feel like you messed up the economy. They feel like you messed up the border. They feel like They feel like you messed up everything. They feel like you messed up the peace around the world. So take the insults, okay? Take the insults and learn from it. Learn from it and start getting closer to the people and understanding how the people think and what the people want. Because it's it's called public service. You're public servants, right? You serve the people. You serve the people. So it's just wow.
That was a devastating moment for the campaign when you consider what the voters were screaming. And then you combine that with, she never gave us a clear economic message. She never gave us a clear border security message. And she never gave us a true sense of even a foreign policy message. Now, I'm only 54, but my little understanding of presidential history, you have to do these things if you want to run successfully for president. Now, in terms of her video, I really don't care anymore. Even the video of her campaign managers, they are irrelevant in where we are right now. I like them as people, but we have a lot to get done. Even the donors, I love when donors get on and say the things that they say. What I hope everyone does in the party, we did a segment yesterday on celebrities and what they were thinking. The celebrities, the donors, and most importantly, the politicians, stop what you're doing for a couple of weeks.
Right.
Get out in the country and listen to single moms that have 2 kids trying to figure out how they're going to make ends meet. Go into a family where a father or mom or both of them have been displaced from their jobs because the manufacturing or the job in their area has been moved offshore. Talk to them, listen to them. You wonder why Donald Trump is winning? He's winning because he's speaking to them. I know it hurts people, a lot of my party, because we called him a lot of names. I didn't, but some people called him a lot of awful names. But this race came down to a very simple proposition. People believe that Donald Trump can make their lives better, more so than they did Kamala Harris. Simple as that. Yeah. We now have to get on with the business of trying to figure out how I'm a Democrat, how we connect better with everyday working class voters. And until we figure that out, no amount of donors telling us what they're going to do and telling people they can't run, no amount of celebrities, even commentators telling them, until we figure out what the voters want, we're going to be on the outside looking in until we're able to speak to those issues.
Do you think any of those campaign managers, deputy managers will be running a campaign in 2020?
Things have changed. You cannot come up here and pay elites and pay Hollywood elites, R&B singers, top rap artists, and think you're gonna get the people because those people listen to those artists' music or record or watch their movies. It's a lie. Those days are long gone. You have to talk with your mouth. Get in these people's faces and get to know what they want. Speak to single moms. You heard him. Speak to single moms. Speak to single fathers because there are a lot of single fathers. Nobody actually talks about single fathers now. Nobody talks about single dads. There are a lot of single dads, okay? So, single dads, single moms, family, couples, veterans, everybody, youths, Gen Zs, let them speak to them and know exactly what they want. Okay? Don't assume that, well, the people voting for Trump are uneducated people. And this is what gets me when talk to a Democrat, like a typical lefty would say, the people who voted for Trump, guess what, bro? They are uneducated people. Uneducated people. It's like, this is why he wins. This is why the Democratic Party may be going down the drain. I'm sorry. They may be going down the drain because they keep telling people how to think. They keep pushing the facts to the side and then putting things that don't matter in front. What does being uneducated mean? So uneducated voters don't matter and the things that they think about don't matter? Is that what you're trying to say? So because these people didn't get Ivy League college degrees and they actually went to vocational schools and became plumbers and became carpenters and became builders and became road construction workers, does that mean that their votes don't count even if they make the United States economy work without those people, without truck drivers, without plumbers, without welders, without uh, all of these guys, HVAC, without these guys, how would the United States economy work? The everyday life. How would your life be without plumbers, without truckers? How? Without all of these people? How? And yet you want to call those people uneducated? I don't get it. That's why you lost and may lose in 2028 and 2032.
Welcome back. Billionaire Elon Musk is embracing a new moniker. Watch.
By the way, in case some of you may have missed it on social media, Elon Musk, the new George Soros of the right. Let's go.
Yep, no one has done more to help far-left progressive leaders than George Soros, and of course his wallet, and he's still doing it. But Elon Musk is coming for all of them. According to the Washington Post, Musk told advisors shortly before the election that America PAC should challenge Soros D.A.s. And last week on X, he highlighted 6 of them who are up for re-election.
It's not safe to walk around our cities. What the hell is going on? Yeah. I mean, Soros, honestly, misanthropic. You know, for someone who has, sort of claims to be doing good, but actually he is not. You know, he is tearing down the fabric of society. So terrible.
On purpose. On purpose. And we see Chesa Boudin was voted out by their people. They recalled him. And now Gascon got 30% of the vote in Los Angeles. They're changing gears. And now Musk is coming for them. Joining us now is Stephen Miller, incoming Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy and Homeland Security Advisor. Stephen, is Elon for real? Is he the right answer to take on these Soros-placed DAs?
Well, this is essential. The rule of law is the foundation of American democracy. It's the bedrock of our safety and prosperity. And Elon has very bravely and correctly identified this problem, where you have these Soros DAs, these Soros prosecutors, who have used the awesome powers they have to target political enemies, to target the opposition party. Of course, we've seen that weaponized ruthlessly against President Trump, while at the same time letting the worst violent offenders back on the street over and over again, and of course, shielding criminal illegal aliens and gang members from any consequences whatsoever. The American people are desperate to be freed from these radical lefty prosecutors who are turning their cities into nightmares of violence.
I mean, think about this. You have Alvin Bragg, who's letting the criminals run wild, going after Danny Penny, who has to stand up and act like a vigilante because he had to stop a would-be attacker, and he's being tried. And they're going after Trump while letting every criminal out. Yeah, he's up for re-election. Let's see if he can be targeted next. Steve, I want to move on, if I can, to what the president did yesterday. And he came out and said, hey, I don't like what's happening at the border in the north or the south. 25% tariffs on Canada. 25% on Mexico, 10% on China because the precursors to.
Everybody needs to get in line right now. Everybody needs to get in line, support the 47th president-elect, and let's unite as one, okay? This is not the time to start brewing division and start talking about things that do not matter. This is the time to get together as one, especially the officials, the people that we voted in to lead. The normal, regular, everyday American are entitled to do whatever they want to do with themselves. They are free to do what they want. But the leaders owe the people. They owe the people. They owe the people to be a diplomat, to be able to talk to both sides and the people in the middle. Let the people do what they want to do. But you, the leaders, you should be instigating unity. That should be your goal. Your goal is, as a leader, you should be instigating unity amongst all people, especially now. This ain't the time to be dividing and promoting division.
fentanyl. Right away, Trudeau picks up the phone and says, let's talk this out. And right away, the Mexican president went to the microphone and says, I'm going to hit you back, America. But something just changed. As I'm about to start this segment, on Truth Social, President-elect said this. That she had this conversation. She has agreed to stop migration through Mexico after picking up the phone and talking today, was at Mar-a-Lago, and into the U.S., effectively closing our southern border. He said we also talked about what can be done to stop the massive drug inflow and also U.S. consumption of these drugs. It was a very productive conversation. Is the president already making progress?
And that's the thing when I heard about Mexico president, and she was saying, well, she's gonna retaliate with more. She's gonna retaliate with more tariffs 2 days ago. I'm like, you definitely don't want to do that. You do not want to do that. But now she's about to play ball. She's already ready to play ball with the 47th president-elect. I knew she was gonna come back on the table. Or come back to the table, because there's no way you want to go back and forth with the legendary, the Don, the art of the deal, the 45th, and now the 47th president-elect. There's no way you want to go back and forth with him, because he has all the chips. He has the Avengers, basically. He has Justice League. And of course, we also have Wonder Woman, Tulsi Gabbard. And we have Batman or Iron Man, Elon Musk. Man, stop playing with the Republican Party right now.
Making more than progress. He's already delivering historic change, the change that he campaigned on months before he even returns to the Oval Office. For the last 4 years, and of course for decades before that, our leaders have sacrificed our people, our sovereignty, our security. They've let foreign nations and foreign countries and foreign cartels have their way with us. Donald Trump is reestablishing the principle, the doctrine of America first, of our national sovereignty and our national security. And he's rebuilding a cooperative, collaborative relationship with Mexico in which we make clear to them that we can have incredible projects and incredible future together, but you must stop the flow of illegal immigration into our country. Under the previous president, we had to remain in Mexico. We had the Mexican military.
So these are the types of comments I like to pin. Now, this is what we're going to be doing now. We're going to be pinning these comments, okay? Ramon Cruz, he says, idiots. Like, bro, this is where you get your attention, and we're going to give you all the attention you need and deserve. Ramon, what are you saying? So, can you explain yourself instead of just throwing tantrums? You probably do not pay bills, because if you do pay bills, you wouldn't be throwing tantrums like this, like a child. Relax, toddler. Relax, bro. Can you make clear point in the chat and stop throwing tantrums? Please, bro.
Military on our border, and we had massive enforcement when Donald Trump was in office. And of course, Joe Biden let that all go away, and we've seen the results. With President Trump's diplomacy, we are now seeing a historic commitment from Mexico to stop the invasion of over 150.
Here goes another beautiful, definitely she's going to be African-American woman. She says her name is Anita D.A.s. Well, maybe she's not African-American, but she's a person of color for sure. She says, what a shame that you sold your own race. What a shame that you sold your own race. Because I voted for Trump, or because I support Trump? Is this why you say I sold my own race? So anybody who is brown skinned or a person of color and they vote for Trump, this is how they get to them. They tell them, you sold your soul, especially if you are an immigrant like me, who came in here legally, who is now a United States citizen, who had to wait for 5 years to become a United States citizen, who had to study and went through Homeland Security, went through USCIS to become a United States citizen. Now they don't like people who do it the right way. But if I was doing it the sneaky way, they're going to be like, yes, we'll fight for your right. But me, that I did it the right way, you don't want to fight for my right. You're going to tell me that I sold my own race. I mean, God, leave. Anita. Thank you for tuning in, Anita. I mean, relax, people.
Different nations that are using Mexico as a transit country. Remember, this is not Mexican illegal immigration. This is illegal immigration from 150 different nations, including terror hotspots, including foreign adversaries. And this is an example, a powerful example of why the American people sent Donald Trump back to the White House, so that he could defend our interests.
Here goes another one, JM. Yeah, tonight it's Thanksgiving, okay? I'm thanking God for being here in the United States. I'm thanking God that I am on a land filled with milk and honey. I am thanking God that the 45th and the 47th president, Donald J. Trump, is going to lead the United States to greatness. And I believe that. JM just said right here, this man is an African immigrant supporting Trump. That's what I'm saying. If you are African immigrant, if you are not from the United States, if you are colored, you must not support Trump to these people. They're gonna shame you. They're gonna say everything to make you feel bad about your beliefs. They're gonna shame you because you support the 47th. And that's why I support the 47th. Because I want you children to shame me. A grown man who pays his bills, who is responsible for 2 girls, you come on his live stream and want to shame them because they support Trump. You could be home taking care of your mom, taking care of your kids, making sure the bills is well paid, saving some money for rainy days, or doing something great, supporting your country. Yet, you want to come on my stream and shame me. That's why I always say anybody watching should be paying bills. If you don't pay bills, this are the type of stuff you're gonna say.
And secure our borders.
Stephen, isn't it pretty amazing the difference it feels from 2016 and now here we are in 2024? It seems like people understand the world is coming to alignment, almost preparing for Trump instead of fighting against him. Do you feel that difference?
Everyone can feel that difference, waking up every morning knowing now that we have a president-elect, a soon-to-be 47th president, who every single day is thinking about how can I defend American interests, how can I protect American families, how can I secure American sovereignty, and the whole world knows it. Look, every bureaucrat around the world, every foreign leader around the world, every foreign parliament around the world, from Brussels all the way to Bangkok and everywhere in between, understands that America once again has a leader who will put our interests first, and that includes making sure that every single country in the world is a participant in the restoration of our national sovereignty and the repatriation of the criminal lawbreakers who do not belong here.
Stephen, real quick, Politico is reporting that Mark Zuckerberg was at Mar-a-Lago today meeting with President Trump. Can you confirm that?
Yes, that's correct. And Mark Zuckerberg has been very clear about his desire to be a supporter of and a participant in this change that we're seeing all around America, all around the world with this reform movement.
Even Mark Zuckerberg, that's how you pronounce his name, Mark Zuckerberg, he is now aligning with the 47th, the legend, the Don, Donald. Okay, he is now aligning himself because you have tried. You know when I knew I was on the right path. This is how you know you're on the right path, when everybody's against you. But I knew I was on the right path when I saw that Donald J. Trump, who was the sitting president, the 45th president of the United States, he was taken off Instagram in real life. This is America, where we say we pride ourselves in freedom of speech. This is the freest country in the world. Yet they took this man off of Twitter. They took him off of Instagram. That was the last straw for me. And this was in 2018 or 2019. That was the last straw for me. I said, there is no way you would hate this man so much and then you would take him off of Instagram, take him off of Twitter. He had Oh my goodness. He had to start his own social media. And then with all of that, he came back in 4 years, actually in 8 years, because he left in, well, actually, no, he came back in 4 years. He came back in 4 years and won. Someone who was taken off of all social media and won. He had to start his own Truth Social. You know how you must have felt as a sitting president, and then this big tech takes you down? It's just what? That alone should open your eyes. If you don't like this guy, I mean, I don't even like Trump every single time. There's some things Trump said that I'll be like, man, bro, you need to chill with that. But overall, because I've never met anybody that I love or like 100%, there are things that I say that's a flaw. I don't even like myself 100% sometimes, because there's some days that I wake up, I'm like, man, gee, today ain't finna be a good day. Because that's how the world is. If you're not my daughter, there's no way I should love you 100%. It's just what it is. However, why would you take down or bring down a profile of a sitting president and say he cannot be on social media? Like, what were they thinking? You took him off of Instagram because you said he was posting too much. You took him off of Twitter because you said he was tweeting too much. What in the world is going on? We want a legend like Trump. Yes, he is a legend. And guess what? In the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years, the kids of those people that are saying this guy's a bad person, their kids are going to be studying Trump, just like they're studying Lincoln now. Just like they're talking about Ronald Reagan now. That's how Trump is going to be. They're going to talk about this guy for years and decades to come. And I'm sorry to break the news to you. None of the people that you're trying to vote for now, nobody's going to remember Kamala in the next 8 years. I'm just serious with you. Even Biden. They may remember Biden because of Trump. But Trump, his legacy is going to be cemented in the sands of time. It is just the facts.
That Donald Trump is leading. Mark Zuckerberg, like so many business leaders, understand that President Trump is an agent of change, an agent of prosperity. Right. And so business leaders, CEOs, everywhere, they want to be an element, a supporter, a booster of making our economy prosperous, delivering for American workers, and making sure that America is the most powerful, wealthiest, freest nation on the face of the earth. So we'll see what comes of that. And
Look. Somebody said, Kevin Jackson says, my God, this dude is simple. Please make me complicated, okay? This is the thing. They like complications. I love simple stuff. Raphael says, you are crazy, check yourself. Somebody says the R word and says, this is the reason why I don't think I would ever stop supporting Donald Trump. Because the people that, if I was trying to convert you, like as a Christian, they always say win souls, right? If I was trying to win you into, the kingdom of God, I should be polite. I should be kind. I should speak sweet things to you. I should, try to hamper you and let you know that it is better on this side. But the people that they're trying to say Trump is bad, they are actually the bad people. They call you all sort of names. They try to shame you. I've never met a Republican who spoke to me in a bad way, even when I wasn't a Republican, because now I'm about to be a Republican. Yeah, God damn. Because it's like they just make it so hard. Like they make it so hard that you just wonder that how is this even possible? Oh, where's my card?
Mark, obviously, he has his own interests and he has his own company and he has his own agenda, but he's made clear that he wants to support the national renewal of America under President Trump's leadership.
Good. It's good for the president. He turned the page with some talk show hosts on another channel, and he might be maybe getting over the fact that Zuckerbucks really impacted the 2020 election in the battleground.
Man, shout out to everybody tuning into the live show. God bless you. Thank you for tuning into the live stream. You know what time it is. It is your boy Genesis. Look, you are free to be whoever you want to be. You're free to support whoever you want to support. But try to, don't hate somebody else because they'll hate somebody else because they support something you do not believe in. That's just not adult-like. Okay, if you're an adult, you let people do what they do and let them leave with the consequences of their decision. It's just like when you're an adult, you take responsibilities, okay? When you have kids, you take responsibility for that child. It's easy to say, I want to be a father, I want to be a mother, but are you ready for the responsibilities? So it's okay to support who you want to support. Face the responsibility, face the consequences. You lost as a Democrat, and we'll probably lose in 2028 and 2032, the presidential election, because you cannot listen. You do not like listening. You like talking. And you like, saying bad things about the people that do not believe the things you believe. That's all you do.
All right, the FBI now investigating as we get brand new details on some terrifying threats against several of President-elect Trump's cabinet nominees. Now, according to Trump's team, the appointees were, quote, targeted in violent, un-American threats to their lives and those who live with them. These attacks range from bomb threats to swatting. In response, law enforcement and other authorities acted quickly to ensure the safety of those who were targeted. And now we can confirm that at least 5 nominees were targeted. Top names like Elise Stefanik, Pete Hegseth.
Look. We're talking about serious issues. Trump cabinet nominees and appointees threatened. Look at what somebody who says he's 22 years old and is serving in the military. This guy is supposed to be serving in the military, guys. Ramon Cruz. He's supposed to be serving the military, right? Look what my boy said. It says Genesis, a stripper name, LMFAO. And he's supposed to be serving in the military. And we're talking about serious issues as someone who loves the United States. And that's what my boy Ramon is saying. Please, somebody, can you reply him in the chat? Thank you.
And Lee Zeldin. It's really a scary situation given that President-elect Trump has faced down not 1 but 2 recent assassination attempts. And Democrats have faced calls to tone down their rhetoric that treats Trump as a threat to democracy. Watch this.
The profound threat he poses to our democracy.
He is a genuine threat to our democracy, and that's not hyperbole.
It's proof that Donald Trump was not lying. It is proof that people were not overreacting when we said that he presents an existential threat to our democracy.
Look, I happen to believe that Donald Trump is a major threat to our democracy. I believe that as much today as I did this time last week. Fascism is a threat, a dire one. So is authoritarian leadership. I believe that in my bones, and I believe it's what we're facing.
Did that contribute to these threats today, the swatting? Dana, this is not just violence in our midst, but this is a federal crime. This is scary stuff.
So swatting is wildly dangerous. People have died because of this, and also it's completely disruptive to families, and it's meant to intimidate you so that you might decide not to run again, or you might not want to serve. Like, who is targeting the Department of Agriculture secretary? I can't wait to meet her, Brooke Rollins. I'm all for the Farm Bill. I want to learn more. But you have to imagine that this is a targeted thing that probably is not going to stop. Now, one of the issues is it could happen from anywhere, anytime, and also we have a cyber security issue. So there is danger all over this. Did the rhetoric lead to it? I don't know, because I don't know who did the threats. So I think I don't even know if we will be able to see. I don't think it helps, and I hate all of it. I don't want anybody to be put in that position. But this should be taken extremely seriously, just as the threats against the Supreme Court justices should have been taken seriously after the D.A.s decision. They are still harassed all of the time. Or you think about the people who were in charge working for President Trump when he made the decision to take out Soleimani of Iran. They still need 24/7 protection because they are targeted for assassination. So I'm not exactly sure how law enforcement gets a handle on this, but I have a feeling that we will see more of it. And thankfully, all of them were smart enough to figure out a way to coordinate and put the information out there. Because the other thing is, you could have a tendency to say, let's not talk about it, because if we talk about it, it's going to increase the threats. But I think they're erring on this right side here, which is saying this is what's happening and it's wrong.
It sounds like a coordinated attack. I mean, we don't know if it's domestic, whether it's foreign related. Joey, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to be careful here. I mean, it's no secret that many people in this cabinet came from this network. So I have friends that were impacted by this from that nature. But I have friends that were named that aren't from this network, that haven't been named in any of the news reports, who also received the threat. And so it is very personal to me. The first thing I say is that this is terrorism through political violence, and it should be treated as treason. Swatting, in my opinion, is attempted murder.
Yep.
And these people, if it's American people that did it, they should have the absolute book thrown at them. Mm-hmm. And if it's a foreign adversary, then that should be taken very seriously. It just happens to be some of the folks that were targeted in this might have the opportunity to do that. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, think before you act, I guess. It's very difficult that this is the environment in which they're going into government. We just had our country come together and overwhelmingly elect a president and a party, or at least a platform. And I would like to think that Americans are better than that. So I hope in some ways it wasn't an American.
And, Kat, it's not just the targets, but it's their families as well. Elise has a 3-year-old child. Lee Zeldin, by the way, his home has been targeted before. When he was running for governor 2 years ago. He had a gang-related shooting outside of his house while his teenage girls were in the house.
Right. And then, of course, any of us, as I'm sure we all have, who have met the man, he's just the nicest guy. No reason to be talking about blowing up his home. It's crazy. And like Dana said, there's no way to know whether or not the rhetoric is directly responsible. But
this division has to stop. This division has to stop. This whole thing cannot keep going on. Division has to stop. And this is why I always say, like, when people come on the chat and they're, talking BS about me, talking BS about other people, it's like, do you think it is better to be divisive, or is it better to just say, you know what? It is what it is. Okay. Trump won. When Biden won, check it. I never said, yo, Biden is this, Biden is that, Biden is this, Biden is that. No. I just said, this ain't good. The economy wasn't what we had when Trump was president. The border wasn't the kind of border we had when Trump was president. The foreign policies wasn't the same foreign policy we had when Trump was president. I never called him names. And I never said, you know what, we should. No. It is what it is. He won when he won. Now Trump has won. Can you let him govern? Can you let him do what he has to do? Can you just let him do what he has to do? Can you please let him do what he has to do, please? That you're going to benefit. And that's the thing. You are going to benefit from it. You are going to benefit from it. Think about it. If you have low mortgage rates, wouldn't you be happy? If you have low interest rate on your credit card, wouldn't you be happy? If you had secured border, wouldn't you be happy? Wouldn't your kids benefit from that? If you have low gas prices, low inflation, low grocery prices, wouldn't you benefit from that? Can you let him do just what he promised he was going to do? And this man prides himself in being a man of his word. That is one thing I know about Trump. He prides himself in being a man of his words. And everybody actually fear him because they know he is a man of his words.
You do have to say that there's no way it helps, right? Mm-hmm. Especially because, yes, there's a lot of examples of this kind of rhetoric against, soon to be again President Trump. But it's not just about Trump either. When these cabinet picks were announced, similar kinds of rhetoric about how this pick is dangerous for our national security. This pick has no idea what they're doing. The same sort of thing. This pick is a threat to democracy. This pick, it was the exact same type of rhetoric. And this rhetoric is very beneficial for politicians because the more divided we are, the easier we are to control. It's easier to get power as a political party by saying the other side isn't just people you disagree with, but people who are actually dangerous. Same thing with the media. It's what are you going to click on more than like new cabinet pick is dangerous for, or like, I'd rather they didn't pick this person. Nobody's going to click that article, right? So there are these benefits, but it really has real consequences, I think, because that is the logical conclusion of some of this kind of stuff, right? If you're going to say this person could be the end of the country as we know it, and look at they're appointing people that are going to further what I just said, look, this is more evidence, it's the end, then why wouldn't you want to take serious action against it?
Harold, listen, I know some Republicans, they were name calling too, but the rhetoric was really turned up high on the Democratic side. They made it seem like if Trump won, it was the end of the world.
I differ with you there. I think the language has ratcheted up entirely too much. Where Democrats are to blame, I'll blame them. Where Republicans are to blame, I'll blame them. I think, Joy, I agree with most, because if it's from a foreign adversary, we need to take a different kind of action. And if it's someone here, I think it should be treated. The kind of punishment should be meted out. I remember during the race, President Trump, one point during this last race, said if he didn't win, that this is the last election the country would face. I didn't interpret that to mean he thought the country should end. This is what happens in politics. You can go back to the race between John Adams and Thomas Jefferson. The only difference was they didn't have Fox and MSNBC and CNN covering everything they said. They actually had to write it down. That's my message only is we should all tone it down. When President Trump was shot in Butler, Pennsylvania, we were all on a show together, and we all said it's time. Everyone needs to just step back and understand some people aren't taking this the right way. Some people are interpreting this in a very, very different.
Now, this guy's right, okay? This guy is right. Trump did say that. However, in my mind, I'm thinking, does he mean that this is the last election that he's going to run in? Because people say a lot of stuff, okay? This is why I said I do not agree with everything Trump says. I am not here to tell you, well, everything Trump says is 100% accurate. I am here to let you know that I support his policies on the economy, on the border, on foreign policies. I believe he is the best for the economy, 100%. And that's all that that's all that matters. If you're putting someone in charge of your economy, of your border, of your foreign policies, you don't have to like the person as long as they do a great job. That's all that counts, okay? It's not my daddy or my uncle. Same as Joe Biden is not your daddy or your uncle. Or Kamala Harris, I am with her. He's not your auntie or your mom. But you support her. So, same thing with Trump. I don't agree with everything he says, but I agree on the fact that he's the best for the economy. He's the best for the border. This guy is not going to come for Thanksgiving tomorrow or today in my house. So everybody needs to grow up and just vote for someone who actually does their job and stays 100% solid. Now people will bend over and say, we didn't say that.
Most of us will be sitting around a Thanksgiving table with loved ones telling each other what we are thankful for. And in the spirit of the holiday, listen to this, the Harris campaign, they got back together this week around a table, but no one was in a good mood to say thanks. Instead, they came up with grievances and even a bit of denial on the side. Just listen to Harris senior advisor and former Obama campaign manager, David Plouffe.
It was a dead heat race, but, at the end of the day, the political atmosphere was pretty brutal. Given that we had a challenging political environment, the fact that we got the race to dead heat was positive. So I think where Kamala Harris campaigned, we were able to keep the tide down a little bit. Margin of error race where we inherited a deficit, we got it to even.
What is he talking about? A dead heat got it to even? Trump won all 7 swing states, all 7 of them. He won the popular vote outright, the first Republican to do that in 20 years. Trump also got more votes in raw vote total than any Republican nominee in history. And all 50 states, including D.C., moved closer to the right. But the race was close? Really? That's what they're going with? I mean, in hindsight, the race was never in doubt because Kamala Harris refused to break away from Joe Biden. During the campaign, I remember this, NBC told us that her reticence to break from Biden was because, according to one source, quote, her level of loyalty is incredible. But was her loyalty really the problem?
She felt like she was part of the administration, so why should she look back and cherry pick some things that she would have done differently when she was part of it? And she had tremendous loyalty to President Biden. Imagine if we said, well, we would have taken this approach on the border. Imagine the round of stories coming out after that of people saying, well, she never said that in a meeting, or what meeting when she said this, or I remember when she did that. And it was just...
I mean, what are they even talking about? If someone you partner with has made some wrong turn along the road, all you have to do is say, I respect their decision. However, I would have done it this way. And not to say that my way would have been 100% accurate or better, but I would have done it differently. Like, I'm not even a politician and I can articulate the things that you should be saying. You should not say, no, nothing I can think of. Nothing you can think of. That's why you lost. And I really respect, look, most people say, well, I don't respect Kamala. I respect Kamala for being the first woman vice president. And she was almost going to be the first woman president of the United States. However, she wasn't ready. She wasn't ready at all.
It wasn't going to give us what we needed because it wouldn't be a clean break. The best we could do, and the most that she felt comfortable with, was saying, like, look, vice presidents never break with their presidents.
The truth is, she never pushed back on Biden in meetings, ever. She was complicit in the 4-year decline of America, and she knew if she suggested otherwise, Biden's vindictive staff would leak like a sieve to the press. It's why the campaign spent 5 weeks hiding her from the media, because they simply could not figure out the answer to the easiest question: how are you different than Joe Biden? But the Harris campaign is still full of excuses, and they say it is not their fault. No, it's the media's. Watch Kamala's campaign manager, Jen O'Malley-Dillon.
I am not media hater by any measure, and I think that, we women don't get far in life talking about double standards, so that's not the point. 107 days, 2 weeks up because of a heart.
Whoa. Are they seriously blaming the media for her loss? There is no way this is even possible. Everybody was saying, CNN was saying that Kamala, there is no way that, actually, they said the only time that we have felt this way was when Obama was running for presidency. They're saying the coalition from, all types of people in the United States, everybody's coming together, and there's a new sense of hope, new sense of joy, new sense of feeling, belonging to the United States when she came into the race and Joe Biden dropped his candidacy and gave it to her without any primaries, don't forget. And now they're going to say the media is to blame for her loss. No, the media is to be praised for her even getting that much of a vote. Because she really didn't, she did Oprah. She never went on Fox. She did Fox with Brett or something like this. I think it was Brett, right? Like one time. She should have done at least 5 times. She should have gone on CNN and did like 5 interviews. She should have gone on MSNBC, ABC, CB. Everybody go everywhere. And they're gonna blame the media who actually helped her. That's just not acceptable.
Hurricane. 2 weeks talking about how she didn't do interviews. Real people heard in some way that we were not going to have interviews, which was both not true and also so counter to any kind of standard that was put on Trump that I think that was a problem. And then on top of that, we would do an interview, and to Stephanie's point, the questions were small and processy and about like
dumb.
They were not informing a voter who was trying to listen to learn more or to understand.
Well, if the goal was to inform voters, maybe the Harris campaign should have done a little less call her daddy and more Fox News or even Joe Rogan, who they say they just had no time for. But meanwhile, they were begging to be interviewed by this YouTube show called The Hot Ones, where guests sit down and eat spicy chicken wings. Now, how would that have informed voters? Would that have moved the needle? The YouTube show actually denied Kamala's request. So was the Harris campaign really that out of touch? I mean, even Democrats, strong Democrats, avowed ones to the Kamala campaign are realizing it.
It was disappointing at best, hearing their lack of self-awareness, their lack of self-reflection, the inability to figure out a way in which you could win this race simply providing messaging and saying that we're up, whereby you don't believe that in your heart of hearts to be true, I just think was disappointing.
But the campaign is not in the mood to be lectured by Bakari sellers. They are playing the victim card.
It's a party problem. Republicans don't make Trump apologize. And as Stephanie said, we don't have to mimic it. But I think that there are a lot of times where if you're in the Democratic Party and you step out of line, you get punished for it. We put out an ad with a cuss word in it, and the amount of feedback that we got was insane.
But someone has to get punished here. I mean, they lost. And the squad says the campaign made a huge misstep by flaunting Liz Cheney's endorsement. The great Ilhan Omar says, quote, "It does say something about where your priorities are, even if those are not your priorities." Some Democrats say they lost because they were scared of their donors.
I think that they need to change their policies.
Guys, I think I got my Instagram back. We golly. That's an unveiled stunning galaxy photograph from 30 million. Yes, guys, I think I got my Instagram back. Whew. I was on live. I started streaming like an hour, 40 minutes ago. And I think it was just Mr. Busky here. And then I checked. I just got an email saying somebody logged into my Instagram from Vietnam. And I'm like, whoa, what is going on? And now I just contacted Instagram help desk, and for some reason they helped me get my stuff back. Okay, so shout out to Instagram, and yeah, man, I was gonna like just let it slide, but I was thinking to myself, this Instagram account has been my account for a long time. I have like 49,000 followers, which I don't really, that's not a big deal, but it's also a verified Instagram. And it's like, what happened? And they tried to take my Instagram. Why? But I'm back, guys. Let's keep going.
Thing yes, it's 100% a policy thing.
Because
Which is the boring answer. Although it would be very self-serving for me to say, I'm the left's Joe Rogan, the Democratic Party should give me millions of dollars. That's not going to solve this problem. What will solve this problem is if the Democratic Party actually adopts real left-wing economic populist messaging instead of purposefully avoiding that stuff because they're terrified of upsetting their corporate donors.
I mean, man, this list of excuses is getting longer than Hillary's infamous scroll of scapegoats after the 2016 election. Democrats are going to have to do a serious autopsy around the Thanksgiving table tomorrow, and they have to figure out what to do with.
Someone was asking me, this is going to be, I hope I am very articulate when I answer your question. So somebody was saying, what is wokeness? What does it mean to you? Brenda creates. So wokeness to me is when you see someone who looks like me and you say, why am I supporting Donald Trump? That's wokeness. 1. 2, when you see someone who looks like me, obviously a man, and say he can conceive and have and deliver a baby. That is wokeness. Okay. And my mic is like so bad when it comes to pronouncing T. Another sign of wokeness is when you have bathrooms and it's just gender fluid. Anybody can go in there and use it, and then it's in schools. That is wokeness. Okay. There's so many, and another one is when you have men playing in women's sports and everybody's just chilling and it's like it's normal. No, that's not normal. Okay? That is not normal. All right? So, there's so many wokeness ideology that I could bring to you, but I'm gonna let you guys do more. I'm gonna let you guys do more in the chat. Okay? Your ideologies of wokeness in the chat.
Kamala. Some Democrats never want to see her again. They're begging her to not run in 4 years. They don't even want her to run for governor of California.
The thing that troubles me about Kamala Harris and that Politico story that reported that this morning is, okay, maybe she'll run for governor of California. Maybe she'll run for president again. I still don't know what she stands for, which is part of the reason that she lost. You know, the campaign did not have a message that connected with voters. There was a lack of authenticity.
Kamala and Biden created a mess. That's the truth. And it's so bad that Democrats have to start from scratch. Listen to the Washington Post. They say this: we suggest that the best place to start is in the very states that are losing population. Ideally, Democrats could point to the states where they control government in their largest cities as demonstration projects that show Democratic policies could work for the nation. At the moment, they are not.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page.
Thank you for tuning in to the live show one more time. You know what time it is. It is your boy Genesis. With that being said, let's see. Should we end the live show right here? Because I wanted to do 1 hour. I really wanted to do 1 hour because it's, Thanksgiving, but we're going to keep going.
Fox News Digital has exclusively learned that nearly a dozen of President-elect Donald Trump's cabinet nominees and other appointees tapped for the incoming administration were targeted with, quote, violent, un-American threats to their lives and those who live with them. These threats prompted a swift law enforcement response. Hello, everyone. This is Outnumbered. I'm Emily Campagno, and joining me today, Julie Banderas, Fox News anchor, Dr. Nicole Saphier, Fox News contributor and board-certified physician, Nicole Parker, former FBI special agent and Fox News contributor, and David Webb, Fox News contributor and host of The David Webb Show on Sirius XM Patriot. Now, Peter Doocy is at the White House right now, live with the details. Peter.
Emily, this is a potential national security problem, so we have reached out to the National Security Council at the White House to find out what they are tracking. We will bring you their answer once we have one. We have also been in touch with some officials down with the transition team at Mar-a-Lago. They are not willing to go any further at this time than this statement. We made a graphic so you can follow along. Last night and this morning, several of President Trump's cabinet nominees and administration appointees were targeted in violent, un-American threats to their lives and those who live with them. These attacks ranged from bomb threats to swatting. In response, law enforcement and other authorities acted quickly to ensure the safety of those who were targeted. President Trump and the entire transition team are grateful for their swift action. And just as we were coming to air, we learned who at least one of these Trump appointees, or rather Trump nominees, who received one of these threats last night. It was Elise Stefanik, who President Trump wants confirmed by the Senate to be the ambassador to the United Nations. She says, in part, in a statement, this morning, her office says, this morning, Congresswoman Elise Stefanik, her husband, and their 3-year-old son were driving home to Saratoga County from Washington for Thanksgiving when they were informed of a bomb threat to their residence. She goes on to describe a pretty robust response. And we were also told that this is Fox News Digital, that the director of the CIA nominee, John Ratcliffe, and Pete Hegseth, the DOD nominee, were among those targeted too. Keep in mind, these are all private citizens right now who are up for big jobs in the.
I mean, this isn't even funny anymore. This is absolutely not funny anymore. This isn't funny anymore. This man has had 2 attempts. Some people say it's even 3 attempts on his life. And now his cabinet members are getting threatened. Why? Why? This isn't what we should be doing as the United States of America. This isn't what we should be doing. We should come together as one, focus on unity, support the president-elect, even if you don't like it. I get it, you don't like it, but just support it. Can you support it? At least for the next 4 years and see what he does. Give him the benefit of the doubt. You can still vote for Kamala in 4 years. Yeah, you can still vote for Kamala in the next 4 years. But let him do what he has to do now first. Can we do that, please, man?
The future, and once somebody takes over the Defense Department, say, they would have Pentagon police. Once somebody takes over the CIA, they would have CIA police. But right now, they are private citizens living in their homes preparing for confirmation hearings. So they don't have security details per se to deal with something like a swatting incident where the police show up because of an erroneous, with guns drawn potentially because of an erroneous tip that there is some kind of violent action happening. So we will bring you more names as we have them, as well as the White House response as we have it. President Biden is vacationing in Nantucket at the moment. We don't know if he has been briefed yet.
All right, Peter Doocy, thank you. We hope there are no more names, and we hope that the message coming out of the White House while on vacation is one of support for the protection of these appointees, certainly. All right, good thing we have the experts on the couch today. Perfect timing. Nicole Parker, break down the analysis. So as Peter pointed out, these guys are not yet under the protection of Secret Service and the like. What are they looking at? What will the response be? And how can we ensure their safety?
Okay, first of all, that's an extremely good point, because when you are a sworn-in individual, then you have the protection. They do not have that right now. So having worked on the FBI Miami's Violent Crime Fugitive Task Force, I can tell you that I have worked, these types of threats, bomb threats, threats to life. I certainly hope that the FBI is getting in there immediately and looking at this, because I can tell you basically any threat crosses state lines. Therefore, it could be a federal jurisdiction. The FBI should be all over this, and no one should have to live in fear because they have been asked to serve their country. That is reprehensible, it is un-American, and there can be no tolerance for this, and it must be nipped right now so that those out there think this is not going to be tolerated, and they have to locate who these individuals are, and they need to be facing consequences and accountability. Threats are not okay. And again, the FBI is fully capable of tracking these people down. We used to do it all of the time, and I sure hope that they bring them to justice soon, and this does not continue.
So just to clarify, would the FBI then be tasked with protecting these individuals, or this is they're there to identify who's making the threats only?
That's a really good question. Not necessarily would they be tasked with it, but we all know that certain things can happen if it is brought down from the administration and they say, look, we need assistance with this. I know working for the FBI, there would be threats to AUSAs, to judges, to agents, and they would provide protective detail by the FBI for certain individuals. If they can do that for those situations, I would think that they'll come up with a solution for this, because again, no one should have to live in fear. Their families should not have to live in fear, and they should not be the target of these types of attacks.
Oh, it's just frightening. All right, law enforcement expert. So David, break down in this gray area, what are they facing? And as we learn, there might be potentially additional names as well. So does this strain the resources in place?
Well, it always strains resources, and then you have to reallocate resources, whether a local agency, a cooperative effort. But this isn't also limited potentially to just a domestic threat, whether it crosses a state line. We also have Iran, we have Russia, we have contractor actors in Eastern Europe, we have Chinese agencies set up to do this. We have elements in Latin America. So the problem for the FBI is to now find the source of the threat. Is it routed, for example, through an Eastern European server, or does it come from an enemy? So it's not just limited to the states, but then you also have to expand to the families, because these threats include multiple members of the families. Just look at the numbers of Trump family members alone. Or look at these families. We have 4 or 5 members, a kid going to school. You never know until you dig in further. And that's where not only FBI, but intelligence comes into play. We have intelligence gathering services. They should be tracking what's going on around the world on a moment-by-moment basis, looking for chatter, looking for anything that indicates that this is some other type of threat.
Yeah, and again, as we transition to these official offices or through the confirmation process, Julie, the reality is frightening in that there isn't an already that structure in place. And I'm just thinking about, as you know, President Trump-elect has really amassed this Avenger squad. We know in a moment it's going to be mess around and find out. But in the interim, I am frightened and want to make sure that our future Avengers are protected now.
Yeah, I think we need to talk about why this is happening. This is all due to the angry vitriol that came from the Democratic Party during the presidential election. They have painted the Republicans with such an evil stroke to convince a lot of people who are ignorant, they're uninformed and uneducated, that the Republican Party is the devil, and that if you are around a Republican, they hate you. They hate anyone who's of a minority status. They hate women. They don't want women to have rights. They want to deport every single illegal immigrant in this country. Not true. They're focusing on criminals. So they've been fed so much BS, and that is why this is happening. And the Democratic Party is 100% responsible for these threats. They need to come out and actually speak up. I'd like to hear from Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris loved to talk about the hate against the Palestinians during the war, right? Why doesn't she come out and say, look, anyone out there who's trying to target a Republican, especially someone who is running for office, it is absolutely unacceptable. I guarantee you we will not hear a word from the vice president or the president on this while he's vacationing in Nantucket.
Yeah, such a great point, because we went through this, Doctor, with 2 horrific attempted assassinations of now President-elect Trump. And while at the moment it seemed to foster a call for unity and a tamping down of that rhetoric, it seemed to then just foment once again right after. This is exactly the right time to have the administration come out and say, we do not support this.
Mm-hmm. And that's sad. That is absolutely sad, because it's like the president of the United States should come out and say, you know what? We do not want any violence in here. I'm on Facebook now, and they're trying to hack my Facebook as well. What is going on tonight? Oh my Lord. They're trying to hack your boy, people. This is just wow. Yes, so back to business, okay? Everybody needs to come out from the Democrat, like Kamala, the vice president, and the president of the United States. They need to say, you know what? You know what? We want peace, and everybody should come together and move on, because the people have spoken. But President Joe Biden actually did that. Kamala too did that, but for some reason, voters are just on another level. Voters take these things too seriously. Voters do. They take it too seriously. Even though I remember Joe Biden said, you know what, let's give the president-elect every help we can. And Kamala said it on the day she conceived to the election that Trump won. And she said, you know what, we're here to, to make sure this transition is peaceful. But now it's like the voters or whoever is just, or maybe they're saying something on TV and doing something behind the curtain. I don't know, but that's just sad.
The Biden administration constantly said that they were for unity and they wanted to bring Americans together. And so that shouldn't stop just because they lost the election. You guys, glossed over it briefly, talking about the resources that are wasted with these threats. These threats are being made by cowards. But the thing that they're doing is they're un-American, but they're un-American in the sense that the only people who are really getting hurt here are Americans, and your citizens are getting hurt here. Each time they call out for those swatting, that's about $10,000 to taxpayers to cover.
Shout out to Sarah Perry. Sarah Perry, man. God bless you. Thank you. That's a beautiful African American woman. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. She's always here. She probably doesn't know I see her, but I do see her. Shout out to Sarah Perry one more time. Um, it is what it is, guys. It is what it is. See everybody, okay? I do see everybody. Shout out to No Care. No Care too is like on another level in the chat. She ain't playing around. She ain't playing around.
Joined now by the New York Times' Maggie Haberman. She is also the author of Confidence Man, The Making of Donald Trump and the Breaking of America. Also here, CNN senior political commentator Scott Jennings and former Democratic Congressman Mondaire Jones. So Maggie, let's just start with Elon Musk doing what he's doing on his social media platform, calling out people by name. What do you make of it?
Look, I understand that Elon Musk has a very clear perspective on, excessive government spending, and that's what he is doing in helping Trump form this next administration. But when you talk about people who are not, known figures or not public figures, it elevates them in ways that it inevitably makes them a target. And we have seen this over and over again, whether it's Musk doing that or whether it is, Donald Trump as a citizen doing it, a candidate doing it, and then a president doing it. And we have no idea what he's going to do once he's president again. There are repercussions for the people involved, and there are real world consequences. Again, whether that is the goal or not of what.
Okay. Let me correct myself. Shout out to Sarah Perry one more time. She says she prefers American woman. I like better. Thank you so much. Yes, this is see what I'm talking about. These are the people that we want on the live stream. People like this who attribute themselves 100% to the United States. Shout out to Sarah Perry one more time, man. Says American woman. Golly. Sarah Perry. Thank you for tuning in, man. That's a straight up patriot right there. She's a patriot.
Musk is doing, that is the effect.
Mondaire, several of the government employees who Musk singled out had jobs related to climate change, including the Department of Energy's chief climate officer in its loan programs office. So what do you think of that, given we should note that Musk's Tesla did benefit from a loan from that office in 2010?
Yeah, it got $465 million in loans in 2010 from the same office whose head he now has been, putting at risk through amplifying details about that person's personal life. And you can't say that Elon doesn't know what he's doing when he does this stuff. He has expressed the same concern about his own personal safety. I'm old enough to remember December of 2022 when he suspended Twitter accounts for following the movements of his private jet. So this is really problematic behavior from someone who acts like a child, but who has unusual power. And it should not surprise him then for him to be sued, among other things, by these individuals because of his reckless behavior that puts their lives at risk.
He's got plenty of lawyers and he can pay for them, I will say that. Scott, do you think there will be an exodus of government workers as a result of this? Or do you think that the government workers in general might not want to subject themselves to this type of pressure?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's possible that some people don't want to work for a government that's headed by Donald Trump or that has Elon Musk as an advisor, and that's fine. I mean, they're not entitled to these jobs. I tend to agree that these people aren't public figures, and therefore I understand the consternation that it's causing. They do work for the public, however. They do work for the government. And, there is something to be said about what it's going to mean to have an examination of the government and whether these kinds of employees or any kind of employee really wants to operate in a government with a new president. So I don't know how many people will leave, but if Elon Musk and Vivek and Donald Trump end up shrinking the size of government, some of them may not have any choice. Government may get a little bit smaller than we've gotten used to it, which for most Republicans wouldn't be a terrible thing.
I will note, my sons both do think it's ironic that the government efficiency panel has two people leading it and not one. They don't think that's particularly efficient, but that's an aside. Maggie, the president-elect and Elon Musk are both very rich people. They have large fortunes. People are fascinated by the nature of this relationship and whether it can last. Where do you see it going? Where does it stand now?
Look, it's in good standing now. There have certainly been a lot of complaints from people around Trump, beginning soon after Election Day, that Elon Musk was there too much. He was sitting in transition meetings that some people didn't care for him to be present for. But if Trump is getting tired of him, Trump is not making that especially public, where I could see Trump chafing here and there, because Trump never likes anybody around for too long. And one of the things that people around him have come to realize over time is that scarcity is a commodity for them if they want to have longevity with him. Musk is also, and it depends on the day, the richest or one of the richest men in the world, and Trump has a huge fascination with wealth. As you noted, Trump equates wealth with intelligence. And so I actually think this relationship could last for quite some time. When relationships start to become problematic, in Trump's mind, is usually when the person starts attracting negative headlines that bounce off on Trump. That's not happening right now.
These people they're just insufferable.
Given the outcome of the election, you now have.
They're trying to divide Trump and Elon, which is almost going to be impossible because this man has proven to be a force to reckon with. He's been a force to reckon with. Like, why are these people doing this? Why? I knew it. They were going to want to separate Elon Musk and Trump. Trump is not going to be divided, bro. This is like, because Elon Musk this man is like an asset to the United States, to the world, to Earth, and to the Republican Party at this point. Because he's a Republican at this point. Because you Democrats, you had this guy. Elon Musk was a Democrat. You had him right there. But then you pushed him to the right. And he's doing the right things.
This soul searching that is happening. And James Carville is weighing in. And as Berman told me off camera, it's like this was James Carville unplugged on the soul searching that Democrats are doing. What seemed to tee him off in what I'm about to play you is the campaign conversation around whether or not Kamala Harris should have done an interview, gone on Joe Rogan's podcast, and what impact that would have had. Let me play what Carville's take on all this is.
The vice president was thinking about going on Joe Rogan's show, and a lot of the younger progressive staffers pitched a hissy fit. If I were running a 2028 campaign and I had some little snot-nosed 23-year-old saying, I'm going to resign if you don't do this, not only would I fire that on the spot, I would find out who hired them and fire that person on the spot. I'm really not interested in your uninformed, stupid opinion as to whether you go on Joe Rogan or not.
Kari?
I mean, look, the Democratic Party is far beyond James Carville. I mean, I'm not sure that he's in the mainstream. I'm not sure the last time that he actually talked to voters who were in a barbershop.
This is why the Democrat lost. They're not open-minded. They're not ready to listen. They're ready to have their own opinion, which is fine. Anybody can have opinions. However, it's like, why would you not listen to other people's opinion? Why would you not listen to other people's opinions? That's the whole point of living in this world. You have your opinions, I have my opinions, I listen to you, you listen to me. We might find a common ground. We just got a lake wind advisory. It's going to be windy. Okay.
Or in a
And this is another thing. I just want to say thank God for shelter, man. Just imagine in this cold, we're heading towards winter right now, and just imagine you were homeless. That's on another level. I just want to say thank God, okay, that I have a roof over my head. I got shelter. I got my daughter in there safe. It's like she's right there safe, and this is what I'm thankful for on Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving, guys. What are you thankful for? Because every time we have complaints, we have something to whine about. We always have something to talk about, something bad. Oh, girl, girl, let me tell you something. What happened today? But what about, girl, let me tell you the good things that I'm thankful for this year, this day. Oh, what's up, my dog? What are you thankful for? Like, what are you thankful for? Let's stop whining and let's start thanking God for our life.
College dorm room, or the last time that he had a town hall meeting or visited a town hall meeting or pressed the flesh or kissed the baby. I love the fact that people go to James Carville so that they could have outbursts like that. He's the Dan Hurley of Democratic politics, where you just have these kind of manic outbursts day in and day out. The Joe Rogan debate is old. If she would have gone on Joe Rogan, she still would have lost this race. Trump didn't win this race because he went on Joe Rogan. It's hard to win a race when 75% of voters say they were better off 4 years ago than they are today. And, we had this podcast yesterday on Pod Save America where, all of the campaign staffers decided to call up and go to Pod Save America. It was disappointing at best, hearing their lack of self-awareness, their lack of self-reflection. The inability to figure out a way in which you could win this race simply providing messaging and saying that we're up, whereby you don't believe that in your heart of hearts to be true, I just think was disappointing. And Pod Save America themselves have been relatively disappointing because they were supposed to be our ecosystem to compete with the right-wing Ben Shapiro's. We were supposed to have this information chamber that was Pod Save, but instead they've kind of become this cocoon themselves where challenging them becomes a hissy fit back and forth. And their messaging has not been one that's been able to prove successful with those same voters that we're talking about Donald Trump did well with. And so I think everybody needs to take a moment of self-reflection, including myself, to figure out how we can get better for 2025. People are talking about 2028. If we get smacked in 2025 in New Jersey and Virginia, then you blow it up. But until then, people just need to stop wanting to hear themselves talk.
I know this is an uncertain time. I'm clear-eyed about that. I know you're clear-eyed about it. And it feels heavy. And I just have to remind you, don't you ever let anybody take your power from you. You have the same power that you did before November 5th.
That was Kamala Harris yesterday, speaking publicly for the first time since her concession speech. Her campaign Brain Trust also broke their silence yesterday on Pod Save America, a liberal podcast hosted by ex-Obama aides. For the most part, they defended
that speech right there from the vice president. That was just on another level.
Their decisions and blamed their defeat on an abbreviated campaign.
In 107 days, what typically takes us a year and a half, 2 years in a presidential campaign.
There was a price to be paid for the short campaign.
In a 107-day race, it is very difficult to do all the things you would normally do in a year and a half, 2 years.
And it's honestly a lot shorter than 107 days.
We had a Democratic candidate get in 107 days out.
This isn't the problem of a 107-day campaign to solve.
Okay, so I just saw a comment in the chat. Man, I like this. Chris, this is from Chris. It says, again, you can stop being, I don't want to pronounce that word, and stop focusing on, basically saying, stop focusing on race and start focusing on what makes us the same instead of what divides us. Man, shout out to Chris, bro. Shout out to Chris. Stop dividing. Stop the division politics. Stop trying to say it's them versus us. And I think to some extent, both parties do it. It's just the Democratic Party does it on another level. The Democratic Party does it on another level. But the fact is, stop using race. One thing I know for a fact is the Democratic Party, they like to say, well, people who look like me should vote for them. That's the Democratic Party. People who look like me should vote for them because they look like me. And if you're voting for the other side, that means you don't know your history. Please educate me and tell me the history, please. I thought Lincoln freed the people who looked like me. And Lincoln was Republican. So tell me the history you're talking about. Man, these people need to chill.
I mean, they're blaming. It doesn't seem like they're blaming themselves for any decisions they made. They're not blaming Biden directly, but there's a subtle blame for Biden.
This wasn't a confessional. We weren't going to get a bunch of mea culpas from them. They did take a clinical look at what went right and what went wrong with the fact pattern that they were given in the campaign. And when you listen to what they say, they kind of admit to some tactical mistakes, which we could probably all kind of agree at this table. But the big strategic direction or questions of the campaign were out of their control. And that's the decision about 2 years ago when Joe Biden decided to run, Thanksgiving 2022. And that sort of set things into motion. And that was the hand they were dealt with. And they're explaining how they played the hand they were dealt with. But again, I didn't hear a lot of contrition there. And as Jeff and I were talking about it, the internet doesn't love this interview.
Not at all. I mean, usually when you're explaining you're losing, this is they lost and they're explaining, but they still, look, you can't explain your way out of this loss. But a couple interesting things. David Plouffe said he thought the most effective Trump ad was on Bidenomics. He said that was really an anchor and a weight on the vice president. But interesting, many questions about how she responded or didn't respond to the trans ad. That was one of the Trump campaign's most successful, from their view, spots that they put out. And they said that they had a few ads that they devised and they ran them through focus groups, but they didn't think that they responded well enough, so they didn't use them because it was in the vice president's own words. That is a decision that was made. There's still a lot of uncertainty about why this was made. Was it the right call or not? As you know, some Senate candidates did respond, like Sherrod Brown and others, just to sort of push back on this. So, look, this did not answer a lot of the questions, but the bottom line, they're right, it was a short campaign, but was it a winnable one with Donald Trump as the opponent?
I mean, look, it was a close race. Things could have made a difference on the margins, even though Trump
But not as close as 4 years ago.
Sure, but still, but in some of these states, perhaps some things could have changed. You talked about the trans ad. That had been, of course, millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars of attack ads being leveled against Harris, who didn't respond really at all. This was, as Jeff was mentioning,
It was not a close race. Stop. Why do they keep saying it was a close race? It was a close race. It was not a close race. What do you mean by it was a close race? How was it a close race? He won every swing state. And you say it was a close race? Nah, man.
Mentioned this by Quentin Folks, who is the Harris deputy campaign manager, talking about the decision not to respond.
On the trans attack, obviously it was a very effective ad at the end. I ultimately don't believe that it was about the issue of trans. I think that it made her seem out of touch. And it was sort of a pseudo-economic ad underneath it. If we spent this entire race pushing back on immigration attacks or crime attacks and pushing back against trans attacks, at what point are we bringing Trump down and or introducing the vice president on our own terms? We're playing on their field.
So they're saying they're playing on their field, but if you're not responding, you're getting defined by those attacks.
Absolutely, and that's what Donald Trump's team went into this when Kamala Harris became the nominee. They went into this with the intention of trying to define her as an out-of-touch, far-left liberal. And for a while, it wasn't working. But at the end of the day, ads like this, coupled with the fact that Harris didn't respond to them, helped define Harris in the way that Donald Trump's team wanted them to. And then the one other point I'll make on, how close the margins actually were, that's true, right? Donald Trump.
And this is what I said when Kamala wasn't talking about Trump. I said, this is great for Kamala. She should not even mention his name at all. And all of a sudden, she started calling him names. And I said, Trump already won the election, because you can never beat Trump when it comes to name calling. This man, he's the biggest troll and meme maker apart from Elon Musk in the world. And you want to go head to head with him, calling him names? She should have stayed on her lane, which is joyful campaign and all that stuff. Because the moment she started acting like she was Trump, there is no way you can win Trump when it comes to that kind of play. Like, Trump is the king when it comes to that kind of games, but you can like she should have just stayed in the, we're here for joy, we're here for hope, we're moving from the past to the future, and stayed on that messaging. But she moved when the heat was getting hot. She said, you know what? I gotta call him names, and she lost.
Did win all of the battleground states, but the numbers are fairly close. But at the same time, I hear a lot of Democrats talking about this and saying it is a bright spot for them. Maybe this is me speaking as a former athlete, and I use an aggressively former athlete, but a loss is a loss at the end of the day, right? So this is sort of them looking for those tiny bright spots. But when I used to go to my coach and say, well, I lost in a third set tiebreaker, he'd say, you still lost. It's still an L next to your name.
And it's not just that those anti-trans ads, which Donald Trump and Republican allies spent millions on traditional media. It's that those narratives also spread across that online information ecosystem that Trump dominated, that Vice President Harris wasn't on nearly as much. She got on it, but a little bit late. And I was talking to Democrats in the aftermath who said that two things stood out to them. The amount of people that believed those anti-trans ads, people who were in their own communities, and the fact that she didn't respond to them, and also the amount of people that believed that Democrats were out of touch on things like electric vehicles and gas-powered cars, that they kept hearing that.
People are so done with the Democratic Party. I'm sorry, but people are so done. You cannot keep playing the game of division, race, identity, and all that stuff, and you think people are still just going to keep buying it. No, people are not going to keep buying it. It's over. It is over. You need to bring some sort of substance to the table. That's it.
Where do you expect the sort of pain points will be for the incoming administration when they talk about these sorts of things?
Well, let's start with, this is not official policy. This is Trump putting out a social media post on his own platform. Wakes the
Which
whole
is
world
still
up.
can move markets, right? I mean,
He did, but this is a classic Trump negotiation. This is chapter 4 of his book. He's waking up. He's got a mandate. Obviously, he won a landslide election on this issue, protecting borders. He brought Canada into it as well. But you got to remember, there's a huge negotiation between Mexico, U.S., and Canada starting next year. When he's in power, this is NAFTA 3. Everybody remembers NAFTA. So he's beginning his negotiating this way. There'll never be 25% tariffs on Canada. Everybody knows that.
Okay, so if you're saying it's just a negotiation tactic,
Absolutely.
First of all, you got to respect Kevin O'Reilly, man. You got to respect Kevin O'Reilly. This man has changed the game for himself, for a lot of Americans, because, I mean, if you take a look at Mark Cuban supports, Kamala Harris. He supports Trump. And he's changed. It's like, I never thought he was going to be this person. But now, like, I have another level of respect for Kevin O'Reilly. All right, let's get the likes up, guys. This is how to get the likes up, okay? You double tap your screen. Double tap your screen. That's how to like the live show. So let's get the likes up, guys. Double tap your screen. Let's get the likes up. Let's get the likes up, people. Double tap your screen. If we get 20% of the people watching right now, 20% of the people watching right now to like the live show, that would be awesome. Okay, so let's like the live show and let's enjoy the show.
To bring in Catherine, because you're
Everybody's
pointing
getting
out there was a few negotiations between NAFTA and now.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And including
NAFTA
for the
too, which
Trumps.
you left out of this narrative, was negotiated by Donald Trump himself. And he said it was the very best deal that America ever got. And now apparently it's trash. I don't understand why it's trash, but apparently it's trash. And it's not even clear what he's asking these countries to do. I mean, he says it's about fentanyl, but like no fentanyl comes over the border from Canada, you know? And even the fentanyl that does come over the border from Mexico is mostly brought over by American citizens. So it's not really clear what these countries could do to appease Trump. I really hope he is just saber rattling, because I agree, at least I think we agree, that a 25% tariff on all Canadian goods and all Mexican goods would be devastating, as would the likely retaliation, which would probably be much more surgically targeted to American businesses that would suffer, that are politically important.
Yeah, a couple of things. He blustered about this before and did not do it. Number two, in the landslide election that happened, people voted for lower gas and grocery prices, not higher, which obviously that would be passed along to the consumer if this ever happened. Not to mention the pushback from major companies like the auto industry and others who are going to say, wait a minute, now you're going to pass along those costs to us. They might have to sue if this ever came to fruition to stop it from happening, which brings me to the congressional side of this. Trump can apparently do this. Without an act of Congress, the International Emergency Economic Powers Act may give him that exact right.
Yeah. Scott Solomon, how are you feeling?
Well, I think that...
Is this much ado about nothing? I know I've built it up by calling it a war, but to your minds, how much should we be thinking about it?
I think that Donald Trump is doing policy via Twitter. And I think that's dangerous because you've got a guy who now has, you say, an electoral mandate, but he also has Congress and he also has the Supreme Court. So whatever he wants to do, if they back him up, he'll be able to do it. And the bottom line is that the people who lose in a trade war are the consumers. He negotiated USMCA, that agreement which was followed NAFTA between Canada and Mexico and the United States. And that agreement exempts most products from those countries. So he says he can do it, but he made an agreement that said he couldn't do it for most of those products.
Yeah.
So
but
I don't
these
understand what he's
shakeups
doing.
are meaningful in that it does bring these topics, as you talked about last night, back to the fore, right? So now Mexico and a new president in Sheinbaum is in the position of moving in a new direction with her country when it comes to the war on drugs, dealing with the U.S. How do you see this as Trump re-entering the kind of global trade space?
Well, on the Canadian piece, Trudeau already called him. They've already started talking on the phone, so it may have had...
Though he may not be long for that political world.
But obviously it sparked a conversation, which they do need to have. They don't have a lot of fentanyl that comes across the border, but there are some people that come across the border. I'll tell you what Mexico needs to do. They need to stop the people, and they need to stop the drugs. It's coming right over the southern border. They're a terrible neighbor. They have been a terrible neighbor. And Donald Trump needs to get their attention, and I think he has done that. I agree with you. This is the beginning of a negotiation, but it's more than just the economy. It's national security, and it's this poison that is killing American people all over this country.
I 100% agree. Like the fentanyl epidemic is horrible. It's tragic. We need to do something about it.
And China's part of it as well, and they're part of it as well.
You know that there actually was bipartisan legislation intended to increase our fentanyl detection technologies.
This lady right here,
and Trump killed it. That was the bipartisan border bill that Trump basically unilaterally
I know
killed.
you keep fighting these old battles.
It's
Donald
not
Trump,
an old
Donald, you're not over it.
No,
Donald Trump
you're
won,
saying it's a
and
current
he wants
issue.
and
I'm
he
saying we
wants
have a
the
solution.
border secured.
That's the solution to
but
it.
he wants the
That's the solution
It's not
to
the
it.
only solution because Mexico has to do something.
They
it's
have
coming
been
up
doing
their
something.
country and right over our border. They do
what's-
nothing. It's a crisis. They do nothing.
Do you know what's happened to border crossings in the last year? They've gone down by about 75%.
It's a crisis. If you want to
Precisely.
argue that it's safe and secure,
I
that's
didn't
crazy.
say that. I didn't say
They've
that.
got it act. They've
Scott,
got
I didn't say that. I'm saying
The Mexican president said something that I think everybody's skipping over. She said
I know where you're
drug
going with this.
consumption.
Yes.
She talked about Americans using drugs. So what she's saying is that nobody's forcing you to use these drugs. They don't just come from Mexico. We know they also come from China. And so, you know, the problem is not just theirs, it's ours as well.
China is at the forefront of this fentanyl thing, and I think the real tariff war is not going to be on Mexico or Canada. It's focused on a cheater, a liar, a stealer since 1999 when they came into the WTO. This is a country, not the people, but the leadership that just doesn't want to play by the rules, and I live it in my businesses every day. I would like to go to DEFCON 1 with China. Tariffs, 400%, I brought it up.
Yeah.
Bring the supreme leader to Washington or crush his economy until he has riots in the streets for
Again,
food.
we've had strategies to deal with China.
No,
that don't
we haven't.
Oh, absolutely,
Not
we have.
one administration since 99 has dealt with
I
them.
thought Trump was going to be tough on China.
billions of
He had 4 years to do
He's going to
that.
get
I was
tougher
going to say
on China.
the
This is
TPP.
time to really put
So
the
is
screws to them.
35% tariff enough for China then? Because he says it's going to be 10% higher than Mexico and Canada.
Here we
No,
go.
it's not enough.
Okay.
Here
What
we
you
go,
have
Pete.
to do is target parts of their economy where there's a lot of workers. Just for an example, let's say yoga mats. Let's say we import 1 million yoga mats a month. All the yoga mat factories, 400% tariffs on yoga mats. They all get unemployed. They go to the streets. They scream at Supreme Leader, I'm starving, riots. That's when he wakes up and
we
says,
did
wow,
that.
I can't
Tiananmen
sustain
Square,
my
he went to the
that.
streets and screamed and
Can I
got
just
shot.
ask?
So,
No, I do want to ask
There are
one thing
other
because for people at home, they're wondering how this works. When this happened last time around, when Trump launched tariffs against China, they retaliated. Were they effective at politically targeting return tariffs? Like, was China able to say, well, then the tariffs on you?
No, we had kind of a BS deal where they were going to buy more soybeans.
They lied, they cheated, they steal.
Okay.
Stole.
I think
Excuse my language.
I think we all agree on some of the problems here. Fentanyl, bad. China providing fentanyl and stealing IP and all that stuff, bad. The issue is we keep on going back to the same set of solutions that do not work, which is ever higher tariffs, which again, primarily are borne by American consumers and not China.
So you suggest we ask them to be nicer?
No.
And kumbaya?
The only person who knows exactly what they're talking about is the businessman sitting there with the red handkerchief in his blazer jacket. He is the only one who actually has business in China and is explaining it to the other guys and women, and everybody's just wondering what he's talking about.
No, I suggest that we get together with our allies and form a coalition of the willing.
We're in an economic war.
You think China's an ally?
No,
she meant
to
get
rein
together
in
with other
China,
allies.
TPP, which is what Mitch McConnell.
Kevin O'Reilly is the only one who knows what he's talking about, and they still want to argue with him.
Your former boss was a big fan of back when Obama. Yeah, when Obama was president, and then it got dumped on basically by both parties ultimately. Yeah. But that was the idea. It was that we were going to get together with our friends, we were going to set the rules of the road on trade, and we were going to essentially bully China into having to play by our rules of the game.
How did that get? No.
Federal employees have something new to worry about here in Washington. Elon Musk, who was selected by Donald Trump to find areas to cut in the government, is going after individual workers in a very public way, shaming them before his legions of followers on X. Last week, Musk singled out federal workers on his social media platform. That's become a tool of the MAGA movement. CNN media correspondent Hadass Gold joins me now. Hadass, this obviously has the potential to get very disturbing very quickly. What can you tell us?
Yeah, I think that there is bipartisan support, even amongst some federal workers, to try and streamline and make the government more efficient. And federal employees are aware that there's likely going to be a lot of job cuts. But this is something that's really scaring them. And that is that Elon Musk reposted several posts from other users that revealed the private names of 4 women who are working in climate-related jobs in the government. Now, one of the posts says, I don't think the U.S. taxpayer should pay for the employment of a director of climate diversification. Musk then reposted that post and said, so many fake jobs. Now, the information that was posted is from a publicly available database on government employees.
Kamala Harris and Tim Walz urge.
Okay, so you guys can see this, right? Let's go back there.
Federal employees have something new to worry about here in Washington. Elon Musk, who was selected by Donald Trump to find areas to cut in the government, is going after individual workers in a very public way, shaming them before his legions of followers on X. Last week, Musk singled out federal workers on his social media platform. That's become a tool of the MAGA movement. CNN media correspondent Hadass Gold joins me now. Hadass, this obviously has the potential to get very disturbing very quickly. What can you tell us?
Yeah, I think that there is bipartisan support, even amongst some federal workers, to try and streamline and make the government more efficient. And federal employees are aware that there's likely going to be a lot of job cuts. But this is something that's really scaring them. And that is that Elon Musk reposted several posts from other users that revealed the private names of 4 women who are working in climate-related jobs in the government. Now, one of the posts says, I don't think the U.S. taxpayer should pay for the employment of a director of climate diversification. Musk then reposted that post and said, so many fake jobs. Now, the information that was posted is from a publicly available database on government employees, and it does not reveal phone numbers or addresses or anything like that. But these people who were revealed, these are otherwise sort of relatively unknown government employees. None of them have public-facing jobs as spokespeople or anything like that. So by the richest man in the world, close confidant of the president-elect, essentially putting their names on blast, for many federal employees, this really scares them that Elon Musk's legions of fans will now be going after them personally, because he has done this before to other people who he feels are standing in his way. And those people have had death threats. They've had to leave their homes. They've been fearful for their lives as a result of being targeted by Elon Musk. Now, the union that represents federal workers has put out a statement, and they say that these tactics are aimed at sowing terror and fear at federal employees. They say it's intended to make them fearful that they will become afraid to speak up. And Jim, something really interesting, I actually reached out to some experts on cyber harassment, online abuse, trying to get sort of their take on this. Jim, I had several of them refuse to speak to me on the record, and these are, you know, academics, experts, things like that, because they themselves were fearful of becoming a target of Elon Musk themselves. Now, we did reach out to Vivek Ramaswamy, who is also part of this effort, this Department of Government Efficiency, and he didn't speak directly to whether it was appropriate to single out these individuals, but he did say our opponent is not any particular individual, our opponent is the bureaucracy. And I'll also add that we did try to reach out to Elon Musk via the press office, but they did not reply to our request for comment.
All right, Hadass Gold, thank you very much. Let's talk more about this. I want to bring in CNN political commentators Maria Cardona, a Democratic strategist, and Shermichael Singleton, a Republican.
One thing you have to respect about the left is never give up on name calling, on bringing down your reputation with the ultimate outrageous lies. They're really consistent. I respect them for that.
Strategist. Shermichael, should Elon Musk be going after individual federal workers on his social media platform this way? Isn't this cyberbullying?
Well, look, I mean, the reporter just said that it was doxing. I don't know if I would describe it that way. I mean, doxing is publishing private information, which the previous reporter you just had on also acknowledged that. I wouldn't go this route, though. I mean, I think you can fulfill your objective by removing many of these offices, closing down various departments if your goal, without necessarily naming people. I just don't think.
Now, it's called cyberbullying, right? But when these guys took the sitting president of the United States and took him off of Twitter, they took him off of Instagram, took him off of Facebook, that wasn't cyberbullying. But now it's cyberbullying because Elon Musk finally buys Twitter, or X, as most people call it, which is X for real. And it's like, why are you guys like this? This is hypocrisy.
That's useful, Jim. I mean, these people are probably already scared as hell that they're probably going to lose their jobs at some point. Focus on the goal, downsize when necessary. Don't put people's private, public names out there.
Yeah, Maria, isn't this sort of trying to create a climate of fear here in Washington?
Yeah, it's absolutely grotesque and disgusting, and it shouldn't be allowed. Jim, this is the type of behavior that if our children engaged in this, and when they do, if you know, like in high school or junior high or middle school, you have a meeting with their teachers and their principals, and there is a punishment that is there for kids who engage in this type of bullying behavior.
Elon Musk is being a mean girl?
Exactly. And you know what that comes from? Insecurity. What is he insecure about? There are ways to do what he and Vivek Ramaswamy and Donald Trump want to do in terms of refining the federal government, taking away the kinds of jobs that they say are a waste. This is not how you do that, right? This is not how you go about making the government more efficient. This is how you go about injecting fear and, frankly, provoking violence against these workers who, Jim, as you know, I worked in the federal government during the Clinton administration, and I worked with so many public servants who were incredibly committed, and all they wanted to do was their job.
Yeah, and I do want to talk a little bit more about some of these picks, Shermichael. Trump's pick for director of the Domestic Policy Council. I mean, these are sometimes some of these we don't talk about quite as much, but Vince Haley, part of the Trump team. He was a proponent of the fake elector scheme after the 2020 election, and we can put this up on screen. This is according to the January 6th committee and some reporting we did here at CNN. He was circulating this idea that you could have state legislators, fake electors, and he at one point wrote in a text, "We should boldly assert that state legislators have the constitutional right to substitute their judgment for a certified majority of their constituents." I mean, Michael, are you worried about some of the people who are coming into some very important roles in the new Trump administration?
No, I'm not. When you win elections, you have the obligation to choose who you want. I mean, no one's thinking about what happened 4 years ago. Where people are thinking about the present and they're thinking about the future, Jim. And when you win the election, just like when Joe Biden won, Joe Biden was able to choose whoever the heck he wanted. I didn't like all of the people. Many Republicans didn't like all of the people. Donald Trump has the obligation and the authority as the president-elect to do the same darn thing. And some Democrats aren't going to like it either. And my advice would be to get over it, just as we had to get over it nearly 4 years ago when we lost the election.
But you know what, and Michael, you know I love you. Donald Trump himself has said that part of his goal is to go into the DOJ and to all of these agencies and relook at what happened in the 2020 election. So we can get over it. No, we can get over it. But you need to tell your president-elect, our president-elect, but your guy, to get over it as well.
Yeah, he hasn't really gotten over it, has he?
No, he has not. That's the problem, and he's making everyone suffer for it.
Jim, most Republicans that I know have gotten over it. They want to govern. They want to deliver results for the American people. They want to think about the future. That's what the American people elected Donald Trump to focus on, the future, not the past.
She just said your president-elect. She said your president-elect. These people really don't think Trump is going to be their president. And that's just wild, because Joe Biden is our president right now. Joe Biden is the president of the United States. He is my president. He's the United States president. But she's saying your president, our president, your guy. How does that make sense?
And my advice to the president-elect will be to do just that. Focus on the future.
Yeah,
but
let's
not.
Let's talk about
the problem.
Let's talk about the past a little bit more. We're hearing for the first time from top members of the Harris campaign about what went wrong in the 2024 election that Donald Trump won this time around. Let's take a listen to this clip from Pod Save America.
Republicans don't make Trump apologize. And as Stephanie said, we don't have to mimic it. But I think that there are a lot of times where if you're in the Democratic Party and you step out of line, you get punished for it. Trump is putting these Republicans in the worst possible political, or what would seem to be, and they support it. Because at the end of the day, they understand that it weakens Trump. And, you know, this may sound like a shot across the bow, but it should be. Democrats are eating our own to a very high degree. And until that stops, we're not going to be able to address a lot of the things that just need to be said.
Yeah, Maria, what do you think about that?
I think there's a point to that. You know, I heard a lot during the election about how Democrats could learn a lot from Republicans about loyalty, but frankly, just about protecting your own and focusing on the what our goal should be and our priority, which should be winning. But look,
it's a little complicated, though, because, I mean, Democrats had a choice. They could have stuck with Joe Biden. They went with Kamala Harris.
Right.
The president was essentially pressured to step aside in favor of Kamala Harris. But had he not done that, it could have been an even bigger landslide.
Sure, and here's
not that this one was a landslide, but it could have been a big victory.
That's
for
right.
Donald Trump.
It was not a landslide. It was not. There's no mandate, and it's very, very close election still. The fact of the matter is that there's so much coulda, woulda, shoulda in terms of what happened or what didn't happen, and that is going to go on for months. I think the Democratic Party needs to focus on what we need to do moving forward. As we have seen, Republicans are going to overreach. They cannot help themselves. They're going to put in policies, and they're going to have behaviors like we just talked about.
Oh my God. Oh my God. She's saying no mandate. No mandate for real. He won the popular votes. He won the Electoral College. The same people who voted for him were the same ones who were attending his rallies, attending his town halls, campaign events, and he spoke about how he wants to secure the border. He spoke about how he wants to bring peace to the Middle East and everywhere around the world and bring the economy back. And you're saying he has no mandates? These people are delusional.
That the American people are going to reject, and we need to be there in 2 years and in 4 years to make sure that we are fighting back for the American people.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot, Maria Shermichael.
Jim, I just want to say quickly.
Quick final thought.
Look,
go ahead.
The vice president got 74 million votes, way more than Hillary Clinton by, I think, about 8 million. That's an incredible run in about 100 days. And I want to give the vice president her credit.
A lot fewer than Joe
Biden.
Biden.
I do want to be critical of her advisors. Jim, they spent $1.6 billion and left the vice president's campaign at $20 million debt. I would never hire any of them again. I don't blame that on the vice president. I blame that on Democratic consultants.
All right, we're going to keep this conversation. We'll talk about that.
Absolutely.
We'll do more of the woulda, coulda, shoulda another time, guys. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Happy Thanksgiving.
Jim. Happy Thanksgiving.
I want us to watch this right here.
Good morning. Bucks County has been in the news a lot this year. Earlier, we flipped Bucks County from blue to red, and for the first time in modern history, there are more registered Republicans than Democrats here in this county. Number two, voters were disenfranchised in this county. And in fact, I want to thank Chairman Michael Whatley of the RNC and co-chair Laura Trump for suing to make sure that we had 3 additional days of early in-person voting, because voters waiting in line to do in-person, on-demand mail-in voting were told that they couldn't vote until 5 o'clock, that the line was cut off. So thank you to the Republican Party for suing Bucks County and fighting for election integrity. And now, here before us, it's on the world stage that we have a commissioner, quote, by Diane Marsiglia, "Precedent by a court doesn't matter anymore in this country. People violate laws any time they want. And if I," meaning Diane Marsiglia, "violate this law, it's because I want a court to pay attention to it." Well, Commissioner, the court already ruled that undated and misdated mail-in ballots could not be counted. You knew that going into the meeting. And I want to congratulate the people of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. This speech I'm doing right now is going to be seen by millions across the country, the Commonwealth, and the world. And I have a message. Congratulations to President-elect Donald J. Trump, the 45th and 47th President of the United States of America. Congratulations to Senator-elect Dave McCormick, and we are not going to allow Democrats to steal this seat from us. Furthermore, congratulations, because we defeated Matt Cartwright, giving President Trump an additional seat in Congress. Congratulations to Congressman-elect Rob Bresnahan. Congratulations to Congressman-elect Ryan McKenzie, defeating Democrats Susan Wild in Allentown and Lehigh. And I have a message. Peacefully, we are coming for your seat in 2027. If you don't resign today,
have at it.
I am coming for your seat peacefully. And Harvey, Commissioner Harvey, this goes for you too. You are complicit. Mark Elias and his cronies must be disbarred from practicing law in Pennsylvania, any of his cronies, for the misconduct that they did. I want you to know that I am going to spend all of my time in Bucks County for the next 3 years making sure that we take back this county. Thank you to every single patriot that showed up today. We did.
Oh, this man ain't playing around, bro. He is not playing around. He is not playing around. And obviously, you can tell he is from the rainbow community. But it's just, everything he's saying is just common sense. This is a rainbow community guy, but everything he's saying is just common sense. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning into the live show. It is currently 2:55 a.m. and today is Thanksgiving. What are you thankful for? We're going to end it with Joy Reid. One more time. We're going to end it with Joy Reid. She wants to wish you Thanksgiving.
Say the undocumented.
We're going to end it with Joy Reid, guys. Double tap your screen. Let's get the likes up, guys. Let's get the likes up. Let's get the likes up. We're going to end it with Joy Reid, people. Let's get the likes up. Let's get the likes up, people. Happy Thanksgiving. And here we go.
These are the people who say the undocumented, who they get to call illegal immigrants, like the Pilgrims had permission to come here, have to suffer the consequences of their actions, right? They made the choice to overstay their visas or come into our country illegally. So if they get deported, consequences. But you right-wingers shouldn't have to suffer the consequences of your votes. You don't want to be around me because I voted for fascism. No fair. I'm coughing on you with COVID, but you want me to wear a mask for your safety? No fair. My body, my choice. Well, here's an alternative thought. Make your own dinner, MAGA. Make your own sandwiches.
Joy Reid. Happy Thanksgiving to you. Happy Thanksgiving to you, Joy Reid.
Wipe your own tears. Troll amongst yourselves with Elon and leave us alone. You got your heart's desire, the president you dreamed of and worship instead of Jesus. And this time, you didn't even have to storm the Capitol, smash the windows, or try to kill police officers or issue death threats to poll workers. See? You did it just by voting this time. Congrats. You got your...
I'm not gonna cap. She looks like she's been beaten. Just imagine if Kamala won, she would have gone all the way up. But she looks like she's been beaten, just like Drake and Kendrick had to go head to head, and Drake had to lick his wound and tuck his tail in. But it's looking like she's gonna have to tuck her tail in and lick her wounds. This is her Thanksgiving message to make America great again, trolls.
Way. And he even got away with breaking the law. Yay. But if you expect the 73 million who voted for the prosecutor, not the felon, and particularly the 92% of black women who voted for Kamala to give you a cookie for your vote, a trophy, a hug, a high five, you might be asking too much. If we want to eat with you, we will. But if we just want some peace over the holidays and we don't want to put up with your trolling while we eat our tofurkey, get over it. Stop acting like we owe you. And for God's sakes, stop whining. It's embarrassing. Our Thanksgiving. Our choice.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard from Joy Reid. And with that, I say, instead of looking for perfection, seek for consistency. Instead of looking for perfection, seek for consistency. Never give up on yourself. Never give up on your dreams. Never give up on God. Believe in yourself. Believe in your dreams. And believe in God. All right? Never give up on yourself. Never, ever. Thank you for tuning into the live show. I am thankful for you guys. I am thankful that we started something here that we started during the election, and now we've been doing it every single day, at least that I remember. It's been almost every day. And we've been growing, and we just got monetized by YouTube about 7 or 8 days ago. And God is great, man. God is great. So yes, y'all. Now you can super chat or super like or super whatever the channel. That would be appreciated. However, I just want to say thank you. That's the most important thing. The most important thing is me saying thank you to you guys. And God bless you. Okay, God bless you. Never give up on yourself. I'll say it again. Never give up on yourself. Sometimes life can be hard. Things can be hard, but do not give up on yourself. Okay, regardless of what you're going through, do not give up on yourself. And yes. All right, we've gotten to the end of the live show. I'm about to say bye. And yes, y'all. All right. I will be back here probably in the morning or afternoon. Say 11 a.m. or 12 noon. And I'll just do like a quick one, probably like 1 hour with you guys. Thanksgiving and then get around my family. And I have to go to the hospital tomorrow because, of course, my family member is in the hospital and they're going to be celebrating Thanksgiving in the hospital. So if you have your health solid, do not take that for granted, okay? Do not take that for granted. Do not take your health for granted, no matter what, you know, you're going through. As long as you have health, health is the most important thing in the world on planet Earth. Your health is the most valuable thing. So make sure you take care of your health because, like I said, my family members in the hospital and they're gonna be celebrating their Thanksgiving in the hospital. So be thankful for your health. If you don't want to be thankful for anything, be thankful for your health. Be thankful for shelter. Be thankful for food. Okay. God bless you guys. Thank you to the veterans. Thank you to the veterans. Okay. I love you guys. Shout out to Ellie. Ellie's been a long time. Thank you for being here, Ellie. Off my lawn. God bless you, off my lawn. Phil. Shout out to Phil one more time. You know what time it is, Phil. Griselda is so adorable. Shout out to Griselda. Mr. Busky, always consistent. Shout out to Mr. Busky. I appreciate you, Mr. Busky. I do not say that enough, Mr. Busky. I really appreciate you, Mr. Busky. John Z. Well, John Z, it's like the first time I'm seeing you, but I appreciate you. Denise. Ooh-wee. Denise, man. I gotta make Denise a mod. I gotta make her moderator because she's been the best. She doesn't sleep and she has to go to work in like 4 hours. But thankfully, there's no, you're not working today because today is like Thanksgiving. Shout out to Dennis. I wonder if she gets enough sleep though. We gotta check that out, Dennis. Who else, man? Everybody else, God bless you. God bless you. Thankful for you guys. And I am signing out. Here we go. God bless you. Also, double tap your screen before I leave. Double tap your screen, subscribe to the channel. And I love you guys, man. You guys are the best. You guys are the best. I love you guys. All right.